Greetings. Welcome to Wake the Dead. Today we are continuing in our deep dive investigation into Manchurian Candidate titled From Fiction to Fact. This is part 8 with our good friend, guest William Ramsey. And today it is a swapcast with our other good friend, Dr. Hans Utter, the host of the Resonant State podcast. Welcome, Hans.
Hey, Sean. Great to be here. Thanks for your mellifluous introduction. And I'm looking forward to continuing our hypnotic journey into, you know, we we're living. I mean, the mass functioning of the stuff is very important, right? And we were just you. William played a song "Kill the Government," but they had the vaccine mandate with blood splattered on it, and in the music video, and that's sort of the trauma conditioning hypnotic effect that we can, I would sorry to be tangential, but so the first mass shooting, right, in United States history was 1966, right, August 8th. I think it was August 1st. So this was 66, and there was a gap, but there's only a few, right? If you look at the timeline, I mean, you have got Columbine. There was the Chinese dude at Virginia Tech, but the first one, that was the first one, and he was an all American boy, and went up on the tower, right, and just started shooting people. And now it's
Whitman, right?
yeah,
Whitman.
yeah, and now it's like I don't know if there's anything going on currently, but we're having dozens of them a year. And so I'm I would hypothesize that some of this type of conditioning can be done remotely without even direct, you don't have to lock them in the dungeon to get, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Just wanted to bring up, sorry, William, but uh, this was talked about in Full Metal Jacket, and Hartman was in front of all the cadets or whatever, telling them about this guy was with a bolt action rifle, like got these many shots, killed these many people, and where did he learn to shoot like that? The Marines. Everybody's like, yay. And he's like, we're going to teach you to be a good murderer in the Marines. And then we look at what we saw, what we were reading about in the earlier episodes with Program to Kill. Where did they learn that? In the Marines, or in the whatever, the Navy and all that shit, military in general, right? So that's a good little caveat. Wanted to make sure, and everybody remembers that from the Kubrick movie. So welcome, William. Hello.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me back, guys.
Yeah.
I really like to read through this document, but also the commentary, even the so-called tangents. Everything's important because you're bringing it into the stuff. And I think that you see that mind control theme throughout all of Kubrick's films, and it includes Full Metal Jacket. It's about personality transformation, right? Much like Alex
Yes.
DeLarge in Clockwork Orange, or even Bill Harford is going through a serious personality change where he's seeing things that he hadn't seen before, and then he goes back to normal. Like, let's just go back and do the same thing we did. But he doesn't learn. And
Yeah,
maybe
he goes back into the Matrix. Yeah.
maybe even The Shining is person like watching a person go through schismogenesis, a word I learned from Hans. So I mean, you see those themes. Anyway, it's important to see those. But yeah, the first mass shooting, Whitman,
8166, a cold holiday, right? It's August 1st. It's some kind of witchcraft holiday. Then you have this Temple of
Oh,
Satan, the Satanic Church, whatever, May 1st, right?
Lammas.
66.
Lammas is
Llamas.
the one that you're
Llamas, yeah.
talking about, the middle
Yeah,
of summer, right?
yeah. That was the day of the shooting. So you can see this
Wow.
sort of numerology rolling the stuff out.
Interesting.
But then there was a gap for the shootings, right? For quite a while. I think it was a McDonald's shooting, and then there was some guy.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and then but I think the largest it was to until recently, I guess, was a Columbine, right? So that
Right. And I was watching a little documentary about the Nashville shooter woman and they were talking about how she idolized the Columbine guys. And there is a big cult of people that, misfits that love them and think that those guys are great. And she said that she wanted to become a god like them. And in order to do that, she had to kill children.
Wow.
Yeah, to really drive it home. And it's like that's the formula for, you sacrifice
Wow, that's
children
super dark.
to become like a powerful. So it's very interesting that she used those terms. Just want to bring that up.
The guy who shot 2 people in Colorado on the same day that Charlie Kirk was killed, September 10th. He had on his like the things that he had on kind of manifesto or his videos was a video of Lindsay Suvanaroth, who was the Asian neo-Nazi who tried to do a mass shooting in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and her idols were the Columbine killers. Like she was trying to pull off Columbine.
Oh,
And so it ties all the way up till today, this Columbine stuff and these mass shooting culture or whatever.
and remember that song, because I remember like my son was listening to it when he was whatever grade he was in. All the young kids with their pumped up, you better run, better run. So there's that song, and it's about Columbine, right? It's about doing a mass school shooting.
Right.
And it was you know what I'm talking about? That song. It was a
100%.
hit song, and so
I didn't know that was what it was.
yeah,
about.
if you listen to the lyrics, like you better run, and it's literally talking about a mass shooting, and you're going in there and you're killing the popular kids or whatever kids you don't like.
That's
at the
Marilyn
school.
Manson did that too. Portrait of an American Family, the first album of Marilyn Manson. They got a song "Get Your Gun," and they're singing about like, or it was got my lunchbox. Lunchbox, I think was the name of the song. Got my lunchbox and my automatic or whatever. Like he's got a gun in his lunchbox and he's bringing it to school. And like and that was in 94 or 93, I think was that album. So that was like before the whole thing. And, he was part of the Church of Satan system and where they're rolling out the, the mass media and all that shit. So like he was probably part of that, putting it into the consciousness before it really took off. Because I think Columbine was in 99 or whatever. And those guys loved Marilyn Manson. They wore his t-shirts. They would talk about him all the time. So that kind of programming was in their heads, not to say it's Manson's fault but whatever. I'm just saying.
It's his fault.
I have a picture of Marilyn Manson with LaVey somewhere. Like they're that close.
So. Yeah. He was inducted by LaVey, and
Marilyn Manson was also they brought him into the whole Columbine thing, like he was some kind of influence on them or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, there was some kind of relation to the mind control that they were being inducted with, and I'm sure it had to do with that type of music too. Because the people that make the music are creating the mind control per their orders from their higher ups, the satanic fucking controllers, So like it only makes sense that Manson was like told to do that. You know what I mean? Like this is part of the system of, create the chaos at the school and make the kids hate their parents and hate everything and hate the world, become nihilistic when you're still in high school. Like I was there, anyway, I fell into that trap too. I got better, I think.
Well, like I have a friend also, he was really into Marilyn Manson, said it really brought him down. I think I made it a show with you, Sean, but I mean, he literally says like, you're a piece of crap and I'm going to psychologically abuse you as you listen to this music and I'm going to laugh about it as I make you feel more worthless. But my friend, he said it really affected him deeply, right? And this music is extremely negative, right? It really pushes you into a very dark state. I mean, I've heard this from 3 or 4 different people that they really got into Marilyn Manson and what it did to their at least their lives during that time.
Right. They would chant, I hate love, I love hate. And, that was the one that you're talking about. We did talk about it on Wake the Dead. And it was one of the later songs where he was singing about like cash is a poor man's money. It was one of the lines I think I remember from that song. But yeah, it is very like that's what Satanism does. It just turns everything good, bad, and, rubs your face in it, like rub your nose in the evil. But we're getting way off track. Sorry, William. Let's get back into this.
I'm going to see if I can find that LaVey pic.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. I got to get my external hard drive on here. I got all
That's
my information.
What's that? That's from the old days when he was a young man. He had like like that. Basically, like the the Church of Satan, it's not like a priest like Manson is like a big, huge deal. He's like there's a lot of people that are priests. Like my friend Mark Passio was a priest, given the paperwork, and because he was singer of another band called In Satanity, and he was pushing the ideals and the psychology of Satanism into society, and they rewarded him with like an honorary priesthood because that's just what he was already doing, furthering the psychology of Satanism and pushing it. So they kind of like gifted him, oh yeah, good job, buddy, and gave him a title as priest. So Marilyn Manson getting a priest title is not like he's one of the select few. It's kind of like he's one of the many that are pushing those ideas, and was just ordained, like given a priesthood. There's other higher ups above priest. Priest is like the lowest level, right? Whatever. So Manson getting inducted as a priest is not such a big deal. It's not like he's they're not going on retreats together and hanging out and, swapping wives and shit. They're just, it's just like formal paperwork, basically. They got a picture taken, like whatever, as far as I know. So.
I can't find that picture. I don't know what happened to it. It does exist.
Yeah, I can imagine it in my mind. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Maybe it's online.
That was right before LaVey died, a couple years.
I do have pictures of Manson with Damien Eccles.
Right, of course.
Got some of those.
And Manson's got tattoos of the spiral heart.
Oh, the pedo thing.
Yeah, the pedo thing. And like his girlfriend now is like some 15-year-old blonde girl. And then, I mean, there were those rumors that he was abusing women, but I don't know if anything ever came of that. He did pull a gun on like the Rolling Stone guy because he wanted to be on the cover, and he was like, I'm going to be on the cover. They're like, no. And he pulled a gun and was like, I'm going to be on the cover. And the guy's like, okay, buddy. So, I mean, that's a story. Goes to show the psychology of the individual. But anyway, it is kind of off track. We are here to talk about the G.H. Estabrooks correspondence with the FBI, spanning from the 1936 to the 70s, was it 80s?
All the way up to the 70s, I think that their correspondence went for a long time, if I remember correctly.
So it's 498 pages of FOIA documents that are unredacted. And we were here last show. We were reading from this. We got to about page 17. I'm not sure if we're going to read every page, but so far this has been very interesting and exciting to learn. So
Yeah.
I want to read some more.
I would say skip page 17. It's just a generic thing. I think the next one, though, is quite good. That's just my, I mean, you can read it, but there's nothing.
The one that's showing you don't like this one, the special demonstration on hypnotic technique, that's my 17.
Oh, my 17 is a following report is submitted. Oh, no, that's a good one. Yes, we should start with that. Yes, okay. Yes. Yeah, that's a good one.
Anybody want to like to read? I will if you don't.
Oh, go ahead, William.
Sean? I'll read this one. Federal Bureau of Investigation, J. Edgar Hoover, Director. Memorandum for Mr. Edwards. Special demonstration on hypnotic technique by Dr. G.H. Estabrooks. The following report is submitted concerning the special demonstration on hypnotic technique by Dr. G.H. Estabrooks before the Executive Conference and several members of the laboratory at 8:00 p.m. on July 31st, 1936. On the whole, the demonstration was fairly impressive. It must be remembered that hypnotic technique involves the use of conditioned subjects, and this conditioning apparently takes some time. The more time devoted to it, apparently, the more effective the results. In this regard, Dr. Estabrooks was somewhat handicapped, having but a 5-day period here in Washington in which to condition the two subjects. So let's talk about preconditioning, and more time, the better the outlook, right? In this regard, Dr. Estabrooks was somewhat handicapped, Of course, it is realized that the very same problem constitutes one of the biggest obstacles to the possible use of any such technique from the practical investigative standpoint. In the first demonstration given, Mr. D.J. Parsons of the laboratory was put in a hypnotic state by Dr. Estabrooks in a period of about 1 minute, using suggestions only. That is, no artificial gadgets such as lights, mirrors, or otherwise were used. The doctor, after giving a signal which had previously been suggested on a number of times under hypnosis to Parsons, and which constituted lighting a cigarette, then proceeded orally suggesting that Parsons was going into a relaxed state. So there you go. So the suggestion and the signal, right, or trigger. He kept the subject in the state for a period of 4 or 5 minutes, during which he caused him to rigidly stiffen his arm, rotate his hands in a certain specified manner, and also ask simple questions as, for instance, "Did you go to Quantico today?" To which he was successful in receiving replies. Upon returning to consciousness, Parsons had but a very vague memory of what took place. So just to kind of reiterate what Sean was talking about, this whole series, we did use Manchurian Candidate as kind of a template or an exemplar. We talked about Condon's intro to Operation Mind Control, Grok the Clown, and then we did Mind Control 101, the intro to Program to Kill by McGowan. And so this is like the actual real stuff. Like this is what it's kind of leading up to, and it goes back to the 30s.
Goes to show you only 5 days to program those triggers into the mind. Like, wow.
Imagine if he had like years, or like some of these guys, like we're leading up to Sirhan, and also like if I don't know how far we'll get through. I mean, I've told these guys we could do like 30 or 40, 50 episodes of this, but like when you get into Sirhan, you see these techniques are obviously being used on him. He's like somebody's tampered with him, and Chapman and stuff. And I've done shows with you guys about Catchers in the Rye and things like that.
Right.
In the second demonstration, he used Mr. R.A. Lovett of the Technical Laboratory using an even quieter technique. He appeared to be successful in causing hypnotic sleep in perhaps 30 seconds with this subject. Throughout this test, he merely questioned the subject, putting simple questions and getting simple yes and no answers, except where the subject gave his street address upon request. Following this, he demonstrated and explained the use of the technique where it involved a Victrola record prepared by him. Later on, he gave a demonstration of the effectiveness of the Victrola record, during which time both of the above-named subjects again went into a hypnotic state under the sole influence of the Victrola record.
Just think about that. With who owns the radio? And everybody in America is listening to the radio during these years, like it's what, instead of them being able to choose what's on the Victrola, the big cult is the one choosing what goes on the radio and what people have to hear again and again, and what is programming, and what. It's very interesting with this, how we can relate that to the real life.
Well, Gordon Allport, right? So he had the book, The Psychology of Radio, around the same time. And again, the radio was tightly controlled, and they were using FDR as the model. And in a sense, FDR was doing his fireside chats were like a type of hypnotic induction, also in terms of how he becomes the father, the patriarch. He becomes the patriarch of the house. He becomes the leader of the family, right? The radio voice. So that, and this all was being done at the same time. And so you can see that this is very, telling, because I mean, if they can, what does the conditioning consist of, right? The conditioning, right. And then you have the record, and boom. So, to what extent, I mean, again, Gordon Allport, The Psychology of Radio, really going into this as the effect on consciousness. And if you have of course, not so much talking about hypnosis, but I'm sure he was part of the same, governmental circles at the time.
There's so much potential that they own all the radio waves, like, and then they're going to own the TV waves too, like, just think about if they can make somebody in 30 seconds fall under a trance and do whatever they want, like, what are they doing with the radio and TV? It's amazing.
It really is something else. And one of the things that I found out, somebody sent me, is that in the 09A, I wrote the book Global Death Cult, something that I missed going through. They literally have something. It's from the Fourfold Way from the Temple of Blood writings. It's, quote, "Either by proxy or hypnosis, use it to find a feeble-minded individual that goes on a suicide mission to bomb or eliminate targets such as journalists, Nazarenes, police, snitches, perverts, junkies, anti-white, Zionists, cultural Marxists, or other targets. They literally are talking about hypnosis in the 09A literature. Crazy.
Wow. I mean, that stuff is they self-hypnosis. They give themselves hypnosis in inducing themselves by reading these papers that are telling them all this crazy. Like we talked about it on my show a long time ago. You were describing about the 09A literature and how it's like free radicals on the internet. It just goes everywhere, and there is no like ruler or authority. It's just this like mind control paperwork that's infecting people, whoever clicks on it to read.
Yeah, it's like that evil book from like that movie. What's the movie?
Necronomicon.
Yeah, the Necronomicon. But it's kind of like
it's real, man.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Cthulhu
right.
Fatagan. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
bound in human blood.
But this is like showing he's like Esterbrook is demonstrating all these techniques to the
Right,
FBI.
exactly.
So
But-
that's it. So Victrola is I think it's the old
It's the old records.
Record
Yeah.
yeah, the old record with the big like
Yeah, the blunderbuss type of cone.
overlook thing, whatever it's
Right,
called.
right.
The record is one of Dr. Esterbrook's voice and was made in the laboratory. It runs for 7 minutes. Subsequently, Dr. Esterbrook undertook a description and explanation of the fundamentals, and possible application of hypnosis. And after his own explanation, invited questions, many of which were put to him by the members of the bureau present. So he's educating all the people at FBI. Dr. Esterbrook admitted the difficulty of approaching the criminal subject under suitable pretext, but thinks it can be worked out. So he's trying to find some pretext to like zap criminals. He mentioned experimental work, which he expects to conduct with subjects of the criminal type in Utica, New York, in collaboration with the sheriff's office. He hopes that he will be able to develop certain of these individuals into excellent informants who will go out and seek information influenced by suggestions made to them in hypnosis, and will later report back only when hypnotized the information they have gathered. The important point in Esterbrook's theory being that the subject himself would have no conscious knowledge of the information he was carrying, nor would he be aware of the fact that he was being an informant. Wow.
That right there is the SRA. That's those people, they split mind. Their other consciousness doesn't have the memory that this consciousness has. And so if they're tortured, they'll never know, they'll never be able to tell the secrets. Like that right there in black and white is that's what Manchurian Candidate is all about. Like the guy, he doesn't know why he jumps in the water when he's playing cards. You know what I mean? He's fully partitioned, and there is no knowledge of self, like total slave.
Precisely.
Wow.
It's exactly Yen Lo when he talks about the weapon, right?
Yes.
He has a perfect weapon. He has no conscience because he doesn't even know. He has no understanding of that. That's the scene where Lawrence Harvey's in the hospital, right?
Right.
It's very, that one like summarization of Yen Lo under Condon's book and movie, or the movie, very telling.
Yeah.
But notice in the beginning of the document, he mentions that Esterbrook mentions he has the technique of having people that will be able to like informational couriers, and then they said, oh, the Bureau's not interested in that. Right? They stated in the beginning, and here they go.
They already have that, though.
Yeah.
They're already doing that. Yeah.
But
look,
go ahead. Yep.
have you ever heard a guy of Nate by the name of Nagel and the book The Man Who Knew Too Much?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
That's the guy who was like kind of the infamous JFK story who walked into like a bank and shot the ceiling so he could be arrested. But he was supposedly an informational mind control courier like this. And that's, from the 40s and 50s. That's a whole nother show. Maybe I could bring it up in a future episode of this if we do more episodes, but it's really an interesting side story. But
it's almost like the pizza GATE guy that went and shot one bullet into the computer that had all the information with the PEDO and pictures and stuff.
And his dad was like total like deep state type person or something.
Right. Yeah, I heard Sam Tripoli was talking about how like that guy's parents worked for the Clintons or whatever.
Yeah,
like
something like that. It's very convenient.
Wow.
Do you know that Kamala Harris's sister was very much involved in Pizzagate? Like she was involved that she would go to stuff at the Comet Pizza and stuff.
Some of those recordings of the bands and what they say is so sick.
Yeah, they're
Anyway,
hinting
we're
at a
getting off
lot of stuff.
track again. I mean,
Isn't
it
it?
is kind of all connected, but still, like,
But the thing is like these techniques bled out, and maybe is a proper term, into satanic ritual abuse.
right,
So I think that they knew, like somebody brought this, became used in cult settings and stuff. This kind of
right,
stuff.
exactly. Because that's how to make a perfect victim. Also, is somebody that doesn't even know what's happening, or they're in total dissociation, and they can't, their front consciousness disappears, and then they allow themselves to be raped on or whatever because they don't, they have this learned helplessness. Like it makes sense that's. Never mind. Keep going here.
It's interesting because you people may have run across some of the stuff in their day-to-day lives and not known it, not understood what was happening. Because that happened to me while I was in college with that person that I met from the Children of God. Like she was definitely tampered with. She
Right.
dissociated. And I don't think she was self-aware of what was going on. Problem, the abuse in the Children of God was really horrible. Esther Brooks also pointed out the possibility of its use on witnesses, particularly children, in an effort to better open up their minds to truthful detail in their statements. In general, he appears unusually cooperative and willing to help the Bureau in any way that he can, either in experimental work or in practical work of any kind. So he's making himself of use. I get the impression from him, for instance, that should the Bureau itself be confronted with an emergency situation of some nature which might require the advice or assistance of a psychologist trained in matters of psychiatry and hypnotism, that he would be perfectly willing and, in fact, anxious to give his time to the problem and proceed, if necessary, to any part of the country in order to help on the same. So this is like one of the first instances of these MK Ultra psych people showing up at crimes, right? And if you look at all these assassins, there's psychiatrists and so all around them. They're surrounding these
Right.
people, whether it's Surian, Chapman, even Oswald, James Earl Ray, Hinckley, they're just everywhere. So this is the beginning of this this kind of secret kind of technique of these handlers being around.
Right.
And if you listen
And
to like
is that
go ahead.
go ahead. Is that related to the idea of profiling and where they created the idea of mass murderer and stuff around the same time? Is it
I don't know.
like that Mindhunter
Yeah,
documentary?
Douglas,
Yeah.
I think the first serial killer was like post World War II in Chicago. I
Right.
believe. Yeah.
Okay, so this is earlier than that. Okay.
Yep. Before they programmed him.
Right.
Just kidding. No.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but like these guys, people are realizing that there's sinister people around them. Like Candace was friends with Kanye and influenced by Kanye, who had that guy Harley Schlanger around him, who was doing like mind control
Pasternak.
threats.
Pasternak,
yeah.
right? Yes, yeah.
And she's using the term handler. Like I haven't heard that in kind of common parlance. It's like I just realized I was being handled from 2018. Like she came to this realization these people weren't her friends.
That's great. I'm glad that. I mean, I wonder about Candace though. It seems like it's too much of a big flashy deal to be honest. I don't know if there's some. I mean, she is married to a rich Jew and she is a Roman Catholic, so I don't know if I can trust that all the way.
But the thing is that a lot of these people are like celebrity influencers. Like they're developed. Like she was developed and she broke free, man. Like that's the worst thing possible. That's what
you
Kirk
think
was trying
she
to
broke
do.
free. It seems like she broke free, just like Tucker broke free, but now he's got more audience and like he's still like you'll talk about building 7 now. Oh, it seems like I can trust the guy now. I think they're just trying to get you. I think I don't know if you should trust any of that shit.
Paranoid there, Sean? No.
A little bit. I mean, I've been watching the news for many years,
Well, I mean that's actually one of the sheep dipping, right? I mean
exactly.
this is that technique. I mean, you want to be able to trust people, but then also it's also if people break free, it's easy to put leverage like we'll just kill you and your family, or we'll kill your family,
Right.
But I want to be on Tucker's show one day, so I don't want to bash him, but
Okay, good plan.
he's kind of no. That guy did some. Actually, a dude from Ohio is on some writer guy. It's and then he's talking about music. Demonic influence in rock with some celebrity some dude who's like son of some action hero. Like, what the hell do you know about music, bro?
You'd
Why
blow
did,
him out of the water. I don't know why they don't
he
choose,
didn't call. He
choose
didn't
you,
call
man.
me, man.
Yeah, what the hell?
Tucker, come on, nigga. Nope. Edit point.
Edit it
Now
out.
he's definitely gonna call you, right?
He's not gonna call me.
He's had some guests on there that don't have a lot of like, they're not well known. So it's
Right.
an interesting thing to watch. Like
Right.
some
But
people,
then,
like,
I mean,
usually they
it's-
have like a pool of fellow high status, high follower people on it, you know, but he's not holding true to that.
Yeah, like that
Which is
other guy that
interesting.
Nick Fuentes was on there the other day. Like, you could be like him, Hans. You could be as famous as that guy.
I
You
would
just have to
not.
call everybody racist. I don't know. I'll shut up. Anyway, we'll keep going.
He
here.
that's another one. That's part of the assassin. They're like, that one guy tried to go to his house and kill him.
That
Oh,
figure.
Nick Fuentes, yeah.
Yeah.
But then
They're
again,
just
you
trying
know,
to make us all whooped up and angry. It's
but you know, if you look at like Guy Debord, right, Society of the Spectacle. So what you see on TV is reality. What you see in front of you is no longer real, right? And so we're really in pretty extreme level of people being in this virtualization where, oh, as seen on TV, you know, when
Yeah.
he said, as seen on TV, and so this, you know, it is, and even just positioning. You know, you just put a little subtle spin, you know, into this point, vector point, in a sort of a narrative construction, social configuration, and you get a result. It may be, you know what I mean? It's like billiard balls, right? And maybe this person will influence that person, influence this, you know what I mean? And so, but again, you know, it's hard to say, you know, I mean, maybe people are off the reservation, you know? I mean, that's great.
right. We have
you
to
know.
see the fruits of their labor before we can choose. You know, Candace is getting us thinking. At least I don't know. Tucker. At least we're talking about Building 7, so that's good.
Building what? No.
At least she's still talking about the Kirk. She's talking about the Kirk assassination.
Right.
It's
yes.
so telling that these guys have moved on. Like, they're not the story. The cover story of the Kirk assassination is a fairy tale.
I
It
know.
cannot be believed by a rational person.
Right.
So when people say I'm going to trust the FBI and believe what they said, they're dodging. They're pushing it off. Like, there's Megyn Kelly's like, well, I have no reason not to trust the FBI. Are you saying that? She literally said that. I was like, what? Like,
wow, dude.
you have no idea. This is like an obvious dodge. And there's another couple.
But
Like,
they're training our minds. We're watching the show, and they are giving us the internal thoughts that we're going to have. And then when we walk away from the TV, we're going to think, well, there's no reason I shouldn't trust the FBI. You know what I mean? It's implanting. So of course she's going to say that crap.
Well,
you know.
See, that's the dimensions though. Like what I was mentioning, like the billiard balls are different points. So, for example, you've got the obviously fake assassin, right, with 30-06, and then he's got, you know, stuff, and he took his gun apart, and it's complete BS, right? The guy couldn't even
Right.
shoot.
There
And-
was no bullet. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you see that, and this guy's going to getting convicted, and then so you lose faith in the government. You lose faith in, you know, what is real, what is not real. So it pushes people also into that, you say, eubulia, loss of will, or just, you know what, maybe they're trying to, you know, this EBT thing is trying to, you know, they've been trying to like pump the race war thing for quite a while. Man.
Yeah, dude. That Civil War movie and all, you know, the Leave the World Behind, those kind of programming things that we had at the beginning of the year and last year, they're really pushing it. You're right.
It's really crazy, guys. I mean, the whole Charlie Kirk thing, they're finding people in that TPUSA who did the strangest things after he got shot on September 10th. Things that don't make sense. Like, I got to get this thing on my social media. I'm going to take a video right now. I'm walking off with my phone. Like, they're not helping. Like it's not, those are not natural responses. The natural response would be to get down, because you could be shot too. How would
Right.
you know how many shots are going? If somebody could be like Whitman, just plucking off people for fun, because they're all, if you're really an avowed leftist, why don't you just blow away a bunch of other students too? Because they're all, you know, Nazi conservatives, right? Like, why not just blow everybody away instead of just shoot Kirk? I think that's a tell. Like,
That's
why
the
not?
spirit, William.
I'm just saying.
Well,
Like,
you
hey,
know,
this is
I know,
my
I know,
opportunity.
I know.
I'm
I'm
angry
kidding.
at the hate.
Right,
but
right.
Go,
but his wife, horns of love, man. You know,
But like,
you know,
some of the people,
what they call it. There we go. Horns of
Chief-
love
bro,
at the funeral.
Kirk's chief of staff just like put a phone up to his ear and walked off calmly, like he didn't even duck and cover.
Right.
that's a tell. Like, why? It's like the dog that didn't bark. Like, this is not the natural response. Yet other people in his organization who like got up and did social media, they just shot Charlie Cook. Who's they? You're using a plural pronoun. Like, all kinds of, I mean, stuff that just boggles the mind. Jimmy Dore's doing a good job. He's covering a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, he is. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm glad
He's
to
actually
I'm glad to be aware when this shit is happening. You know what I mean? They're not going to fool us. They're not fooling you, obviously, William. You know what I mean? Like
no.
they get, just like in 9/11, they were like, oh yeah, kerosene melts steel beams. Like, okay. And everybody wants to accept a lie and like live with the cognitive dissonance and just, okay, I can trust the government. It's fine. I would rather not believe that they would do such a thing. It's easier for my consciousness to be safe. But the reality, and Hans knows the reality. This government is not your friend.
He must have really been driving him crazy for a long time, is my guess. Like, and then in July, they just went, "We got to get rid of him. He's a problem." We've used him. Like, it's very treacherous because he was involved in getting the right elected. But like, we've used him up. He's being a problem. He's not about blowing up Iran. He's distrusting Israel, and this is it. Like, okay.
Right.
And that was the
He thinks circumcision is a bad idea. Get him.
2 independent persons, and then
Oprah's face cream, man.
Oh, right.
But another thing, just to throw this out there, is that sort of in terms of the hypnosis thing or the suggestion imprints. Look at 9/11, seeing those images all the time. Bomb, 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 bomb. JFK assassination. Charlie Kirk. People just walk over and over and over and over and over again. You're seeing it, right? And so this is also part of that imprinting, right?
Trauma.
Trauma imprinting. And then you got the other side, people saying, oh, Charlie Kirk is in, somewhere in the, Caribbean on a cruise ship. He never died. His corpse is made out of wax. I mean,
right.
And then there's also, again, you have this other side where everything is fake now, right? Nothing actually happens. Everything is completely a simulation, right? Even like David Icke says, the moon is fake, dude. He does.
That's like one of the biggest mind zaps imaginable.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're just turning your conscious mind to jelly at that point. Like, believe anything, It's too bad.
I mean, that's one of the things people said about the flat Earth, is that it's a psyop to just completely discombobulate people's rational senses.
Right. And it poisons the well, if somebody
the Earth isn't flat.
If somebody says like they're telling their grandma,
no, dude, don't tell me that. No, I know a guy. Hopefully, he's not listening. One of the smartest guys I know. He's like a professor or whatever, and he got into the flat Earth stuff, and he believes it, man. Wow. I hopefully he won't see this.
I actually had the guy Flat Earth Dave on my show.
Oh, I remember that episode.
I disproved Flat Earth right to his face, and he didn't believe it.
Yeah,
I was like, well, to take a flight from Peru, you have to go up to the United States, and then you have to fly back down to Australia. And I'm like, I do the freaking and show the flight.
It's getting roboted. You're getting like a robot. I think the computer is like,
oh, we got to keep going.
That was a great episode, actually. Everybody should go back and listen to that. That Flat Earth Dave was like, he's such a grifter. He just wants to sell that app, and it's like $7 for that app. And every day the app tells you a new lie. It gives you a documentary about Flat Earth every day to keep you into it's like what Estabrooks does, or what, the dude from McGill University. With the de-patterning, you know what I mean? Like you wake up and you read this, you get this new fact about flat Earth every day. That's gonna make you believe.
It's really profound,
right?
Yeah. Imagine those people that have been warped, like a Scientologist, where you think that there's a place called Tegiak where Xenu lives,
right?
And you're implanted with beings. I mean, imagine how effed up your worldview is.
So I actually know someone, or I met someone. This little anecdote. I went to Narconon, which was a drug rehab run by Scientologists, and it was in not Huntington, but in Newport Beach, and it was great. It was like right on the beach, and it was beautiful. And the thing is that they had you sit in saunas, and like sweat out your drugs or whatever, your toxins. And I was only there for cannabis to satisfy a court, but other people were like getting high in the sauna and shit. It was really crazy. There were people would like sweat out red phosphorus from in between their toes because there would be meth. There were meth cooks and they were breathing the shit. It actually works, and but anyway, it's crazy. And there was a lady there that thinks she was one of the original 4,000 souls that was like put in the volcano, and melted and like all that shit. She drinks calcium magnesium, and we were supposed to drink a little cup of it, and it makes you have diarrhea. It's like that's what it does. It's just to clean your system out, and she would go and drink a full glass. And she's got to be an alien. Like, who the hell could do that? Like, oh my god! But she thought that she was the leader, running the place, and she believed that she was one of those alien souls that was here. It was interesting.
Well, I mean, Jehovah's Witness, right? They have this belief system where there's some like weird planetary system, whatever, Pleiades, something or other, and then the immortality comes when your consciousness is uploaded.
Whoa.
So they had, and that's going back for. So I mean, in these
you
things,
have to work your way into heaven. There's only going to be 144,000 people, so you better get back out on that street and get some more adherence and make some money. Like, it's not saved by grace. It's like works-based stuff. Like, imagine how horrible that is. God, you can't even call that Christianity. It's just a complete
slavery, right?
Yeah, mental slavery. I can't enslave people.
That too.
Well, you get these belief systems. I mean, these become reality shaping paradigms, right? So, like in the Scientology, like like there's like the barriers to learning. I think is a super cool thing from Scientology, actually, because it's a kinesthetic way of. So it's actually, I just throw that out there. It is very good. Barriers to learning is like when you don't grasp something or whatever. It has like absence. You have this kinesthetic sense and how you don't understand a word, right? So that little thing is actually good and interesting, right? But okay, but to say you get into it and then you spend more and more money, and as you get to the big thing, the spaceship, and or even Mormonism, right? Don't they have like
right?
Yeah,
some of the stuff isn't revealed to you until you're in.
And then you're like, oh my, and then you can't, you're into this totally whacked out reality, but you've invested so much of your psychic energy that if you try to separate from it, it'll probably shatter your personality. You become like
they're all messed up. Everybody who's been through Scientology is a kind of like wrecked soul in a way. I've never met one who's like, I was deep in for 8 years and like I was done and never looked back. They all will look back. They're like, what the funk happened? I said, you went through a freaking mega mind control cult, bro.
Just like all of Alex.
Very advanced techniques.
But sacred underwear, dude. Sacred underwear.
Aleister Crowley's wives, they all lost their consciousness too. Same thing. Like,
they just wanted to kill themselves or whatever.
But I have taken that thing from Mormonism, the sacred underwear. You just never take it off, and it's awesome. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. Erase it. Oh, it's live.
Erase that.
But I mean, think about that. Like, so you're going, and the thing is that it's that initial, as soon as you catch these sort of weird, irrational things, right? This should be like a red flag, right? But that's almost like the warning point, right? When if you keep going, that's like, you're giving your consent.
Yeah.
And then you become more and more conditioned, more and more invested. Yeah. And then basically, what are you, man? You're an alien.
Yeah.
But this is it.
Look, this is the same theme as this whole thing we're reading right here. It's how much conditioning you did.
And it goes the same way with government. How much conditioning are we, like every 4 years we vote, every 2 years we vote. We keep, giving our consent to this like system, and we keep thinking insane thoughts. And
Sean, you don't trust the government? You don't love the government? What's wrong with you? You heretic?
YouTube is listening. YouTube.
You heretic? They only take half of your tax dollars and never give anything back in return. You don't have health care.
Not mine.
Debt. You can't afford a $500 charge. Why don't you love the government? What's wrong with you? You heretic.
What's wrong with me? Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Why don't you pledge to the flag?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah,
why don't you vote? Like
the government's perfect. It's not corrupt. These people, they're like J. Edgar Hoover. They're looking out for you, man.
Yeah.
They love you.
It works perfectly because they have these techniques of making total slaves, and it works just like planned, you know.
Amen.
Yeah.
He further
All right.
he
So I
further
was gonna say-
indicated that he is planning to continue his experiments quite extensively at Colgate University. Who else was at Colgate? Louis Jolyon West. And invited the Bureau to have me and some other representative of the Bureau visit there occasionally and examine the work being done to make suggestions, and if need be, to ask for the consideration of any special problem. So people are going to be visiting Colgate from the FBI. All in all, I feel that the fundamental principles of hypnotism have been adequately demonstrated by Dr. Estabrooks on his visit here and are not being disputed. The real problem, as it seems to me, is that of any practical application of these principles. I think we should all give some thought and consideration to the possibility of obtaining any value which might exist in such methods applied to interrogation work, particularly in special or unusual instances which might confront the Bureau. I do not see where we can lay down any definite program for this, however, except to keep in touch and on friendly terms with Dr. Estabrooks and keep up to date on his experiments, and as opportunity might present itself in connection with the actual work of the Bureau, where everything is not only ideal from the subject standpoint, but absolutely safe from the Bureau standpoint, perhaps enlist the aid of Dr. Estabrooks. So they're thinking about enlisting aid. Saturday afternoon, Mr. Acers took Dr. Estabrooks on a tour of the Bureau, at which time he was fingerprinted. I'm attaching a letter from the director's signature, thanking the doctor for his visit here and acknowledging the fingerprint card. Respectfully, EP Coffee. So just incredible stuff. Like they're very close attachment. And, you know, Colgate is what, mid New York City, New York State, I think.
And what they're talking about interrogations too. And like what, you know, after 9/11, we had those special interrogations or whatever they framed it as. I forget the wording, but where they were doing waterboarding and these other types of, you know, when somebody's being waterboarded, they think they're going to die. You know what I mean? That's the fear they're getting and they can't breathe. So this, I'm sure, came from these techniques, you know, this enhanced interrogation.
Yeah, I think so. And that very important in World War II. So they have all the Camerons there. They're interrogating all the ex-Nazis. They're trying to figure out that stuff. And also the Korean War. So that's all the Manchurian stuff and interrogation and what happened in captivity and things like that. So very important topic, I think, for these guys. But just like this is missives. These are correspondence between Hoover and Estabrooks. Like, dear Mr. Hoover, I want to thank you for your letter, August 4th. Hardly need to tell you that I most thoroughly enjoyed my Washington trip and obtained, I hope, a real insight into the nature of the Bureau's problem. So he's there to solve problems. It was extremely good of you to allow me the spare time in which to contact the other agencies who had expressed interest in my words. They're disseminating Estabrooks' ideas to the other agencies. I feel that as a result, we are in a position to discuss developments in a much more intelligent manner. Since my return, I've been following a lead, which will, I hope, enable me to give you folks a definite answer to one of the major problems which were discussed in the Friday conference. I will communicate with you more fully as soon as we are in a position to undertake experimental work along these lines. Do please give my sincerest regards to Mr. Nathan, Mr. Coffey, and many other members of the Bureau who I met. I regret exceedingly that you were not able to attend the demonstration in question, but I realize that after all, there are more important things in your office than watching the detailed research work which may come in. I assure you that both Dr. Cutton and myself are extremely interested in the nature of these problems and will do everything we can to assist in their solutions. G.H. Estabrooks, 1936.
Wow. So this next one, now you see what that matter he's referring to, right? When you read this, I don't know if you...
I can read it if you like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. August 24th, 1936, Dr. G.H. Estabrooks, Colgate University, Hamilton, New York. Dear Dr. Estabrooks, I have your letter of August 17th, which I have carefully considered. I feel that it would be well to go rather slowly in conducting the experiments to which you refer. That is, so far as any official, formal, or any informal Bureau approval is concerned. There are certain definite difficulties in the matter of experimenting in the use of drugs and anesthetics. I have, of course, complete and entire confidence in you, and it may well be that this confidence could be extended to other prominent research experts. Frankly, however, in view of this extremely delicate character of the work which it is contemplated will be performed, I would much prefer to delay it, so far as the Bureau is in any manner concerned, until a later date, certainly until Mr. Coffey or some other Bureau official has the opportunity to go into this matter more in detail with you. The circumstances indicate that it will be possible to discuss this further sometime later in the fall. I am certain that you will understand fully my position in this matter and will appreciate the importance of the issues involved. Sincerely, J. Edgar Hoover, Director.
You can read better than that, Sean.
Ah, you bastard! Oh yeah.
No, at least you don't have to count with your toes. But this is right there. We see the drugs and delicate matters. So already there's things that they're not putting in the memos, right? And so we talk about MK Ultra. So what are they getting into, right? What are they already starting to experiment with in the 30s?
Right. Anesthesia as well. Yeah.
Well said. Very well said.
And
yeah, guys, I've returned to YouTube. So welcome back, everybody. We've got about 125 live listeners. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go check out The Resonant State with Hans Uter and Wake the Dead with Sean Can. On my side, we're all restreaming this, which is really cool. But on my side, I will put links to those podcasts in the show notes. So you can just kind of click through. If you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions, too. A lot of great comments in here, guys. I forgot that Scientology teaches you top clam, that you're literally come from a clam. They teach like a word. It's true. They teach a version of like Darwinism that you're formerly a clam in a past life.
Wow.
Like imagine the dehumanization. So a great comment. I don't even want to say that out loud. I'll get banned. FUQ, pal. I know what that means. Anyway. Charlie videos a trip. I didn't see that. Great live stream. A lot of compliments on the series. Series has been awesome, George. Thank you guys. Really appreciate the listens, and I appreciate if you guys resend all this stuff or like put it on your social media. I don't know if these guys have an ad budget, but I don't have an ad budget. So any social media retweets or anything like that is much appreciated. So
absolutely.
I don't have a food budget, man.
Who does?
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're trying to pull this train to a halt here, if you wanted to keep going, but
I'm not. I have another couple hours. I got 2 hours. Whenever you guys want to go. I just was trying to get that out. We're almost at the hour mark, so I was just trying to.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I am a clam.
Self-advertisement.
You got the brains of a clam.
Well, I do.
Sean, you're too far away for me to slap you, dude.
Yeah.
I know.
We're bashing you.
We're an hour in.
No, we can't.
We got to worship the clam, though. That's why,
Well, that clam is okay. Let's not go there.
All right. The bearded clam. Anyway, okay. He has to walk delicately in the drugs and anesthesia, so they have to go carefully. That's what that last one was about, right?
Yeah, in the matter of experimenting the use of drugs and anesthetics. So there you go. This is 1936. They're thinking about it, right? So that's how you kind of know these people are all talking about MK Ultra. This goes 20 years before that, right?
I think 1937 is when they first synthesized LSD, or they discovered it, and then apparently they synthesized it in 43, but it was like 37. I think that was the real date. And then Albert Hoffman went and did the bicycle ride in 43, when they say is the official time, but 37 is right after 36, right after these.
I didn't know that.
Where they're talking about the drugs that they're going to be using. Wow. Very interesting. Because Hoffman was given the recipe. It wasn't like he just discovered it by accident. He found there was a book already printed. He's like just following directions on how to synthesize the stuff.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Anybody? Is this one worth reading? Should we do that?
Yeah, I think the next one is good. Can I
Do
read
you
that?
want? Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, all
So,
you.
all right. Memorandum for Mr. Nathan. Read Dr. G.H. Esterbrook's experiments regarding developing the hypnotic state in experimental subjects. Dr. G.H. Esterbrook's letter of August 17th, 1936, advises that he has arranged with the superintendent of the psychiatric hospital at Syracuse and with doctors Dooley and Bootner of the Syracuse Medical School to conduct experiments up there for this bureau, using various drugs and anesthetics as an aid to developing the hypnotic state in the experimental subjects. He further states that State Commissioner Parsons has placed his okay on the project, and he seeks permission of the director to carry on the experiments. He also infers that Dr. Butner, the anesthesist, should be reimbursed if possible for time and materials, although the doctor would be willing to contribute them gratis if they could not be paid for. He further suggested it might be a good idea for me or some representative of the Bureau to confer up there with the group before the work began and or present at the first series of experiments, quote, with a view to keeping us on the right track, end quote. It looks as though Dr. Esterbrook is really moving ahead with this thing. In fact, he seems to be going a good deal further than he indicated when he was here at the Bureau. Of course, no suggestion was given to him here to the effect that the Bureau could take part in the conduct of experiments utilizing drugs and serums. As a matter of fact, he was distinctly told, and the reasons explained to him, that the Bureau could not officially be connected with such experiments. At the same time, I think his enthusiasm should be encouraged wherever the Bureau can safely do so, and for that matter, I see no harm in these gentlemen going ahead with their experiments on their own initiative, provided they do not use the Bureau as an authority for their doing so. I further think it might be well, if possible, to arrange some compensation for Dr. Bootner if he is going to put time and material in the experiments, although at the moment I'm frank to admit that I do not yet know the Bureau could reimburse him and yet not be connected with the experiments. We have previously made inquiries into the use of tourist serums and have observed some experiments and have conferred with various doctors, but we have always stopped short of the actual conduct of experiments ourselves, or where our name was connected due to the remote but always present danger of injury or death to a subject of the experiment, as well as a danger of adverse press criticism for doing work of this kind. It might be well for me to go up there and try to straighten these gentlemen out, and perhaps the executive conference would wish to consider the whole subject. Respectfully, E.P. Coffee.
Great stuff. I mean, this
That's
is it.
interesting.
They're realizing they want to money launder. They don't want to be connected, but they want to do it. So this is all what happened during MK Ultra, where they would use cutouts. They use front things, the Geschichter Fund, Human Ecology Fund, all these other things that kept distance from these institutions. So that's what Coffee's thinking. Like, it's incredible. And that is it CC'd or it goes to Mr. Nathan. This does. It has Edgar Hoover's name on it.
That's the same way that they laundered the money to Wuhan for the whole thing that happened 5 years ago. With Fauci was giving money to the lowers that ended up giving it to the Wuhan and having it done over there in China, just like how they do things over there in Manchuria, for the programming and, the science with the bats and the pangolins or whatever.
But, to see these experiments, right, it's implied that these are not voluntary experiments, right? This is involuntary experimentation, and injury or death is, a clear,
always present.
So that's not
Sure.
like, you're not, I don't know. I mean, it's like, it's serious, right? But then the
Right.
way he's like straightened these gentlemen out, there's a lot of, I don't know. It's basically let's go for it. We got we
Yeah.
got we got we got a bunch of these doctors just experimenting on whoever comes in. All right, rock and roll. Just to keep
Oh,
the bureau out of it, we'll send him some money and say it's for dinner or something. Per diem.
this is
I,
just how all the government works this way. It's so funny.
yeah, it's so true. Well said. How can you not trust the government, Sean? I cannot believe
I
it.
don't know.
They're
I'm
always
crazy.
weaseling a way out of it. Every
I must
every
be
administrative
crazy.
body. Yeah, that's the way they go. They go straight to you're crazy, or try to delegitimize your
Right.
inquiries. I know.
Yeah. James Corbett just
Theorist.
did. James Corbett just produced a documentary about how if you don't go along with the government, then you must be crazy, and how the medical industry is all about that. And now they, all they have to do is someone say, "Oh, he's crazy," and they can lock you up for 72 hours and do whatever.
Dude, this is sorry, my camera is like I think it's possessed. It's like moving everywhere. I don't know why it's doing that. But no, this is really
Are you sure
essential.
it's your camera? Are you sure it's not from the
Ooh,
FBI, or
ooh.
is it a pager camera?
No,
Have you checked it out?
it's a
Where-
Scientologist. It's a
When did
clam
you get it?
it's a clam brigade.
Might have some PETN in there.
but no, this mental health initiative stuff. I have to pull it up, but if you look, like especially in Massachusetts, right, they have all these weird color coded things. All these colors are symbolic, and they have this inverse funnel thing where the first thing is law enforcement, da da da, and then the hospitalization. But it goes through, and they have all
Right.
these initiatives, and this goes back to the UN stuff, mental hygiene stuff, cultural ecology, mental hygiene. And so and there's a book, I think I mentioned to you, Sean, called Bats in the Belfry,
Right.
about using mental health as the next phase of, like, literally locking people up. And so
Right.
you have, like, I mentioned maybe, some, I think personally not on the show, but someone, some guy, whoever it was, broke the window on my car. And so that's fine. He broke into my car, but I called the police, and I'm trying to file a police report. Is like, good luck. You're not going to be able to file a police report. By the time you get through the menu, it's like, oh, it'll take 8 months to process this.
Why don't you trust the government, Hans? I
But
don't understand.
but what I want to state though is in the menu, right? So I had to call the police, about 6 months before, and you can actually talk to a human being. Now on the menu, there's 3 separate buttons for mental health issues. Do you know someone who's having a mental health issue?
Of course.
Currently having a mental health issue. Are you currently having a mental health issue? Do you suspect someone might have a mental health issue? These are 3 separate menu items. To file a police report, you have to go through like friggin', press 20 buttons, and you have to listen to an hour and 20-minute speech. You cannot file a police report if this, that, I mean, literally. And if you press the wrong button, you're back at the beginning. But mental health stuff, so you can just literally call up and say, I think my neighbor's losing his mind. Oh, let's take him
Right.
away. And so this is really getting promoted. And I think this rollout, again, with this weird color coding stuff, again, check out Boston, but this is like the next phase of this. And
Right.
it's quite scary, actually.
That's
Right.
really scary. I mean, that's that, but like they're putting it in your brain. Like, do you have mental? Well, I'm not thinking about that. I'm trying to pay rent, but now that you think about it, maybe I am crazy. Like, what am I looking at this for? I had an earlier guest, World on Mute. Her name was Lisa Moran. She showed me this. This is crazy. So, like, if you find somebody online, it's a freaking
Wow.
narc website.
See something, say something.
Yeah, keeping it real on the move. Get the app. You can literally get it for see something, do something, report online digital
Dude.
harms.
Wow.
I think your words are hateful. Like, it's hateful. I'm
Yeah, I
calling
think
them
you
right
have
now.
trouble regulating your emotions.
Even better.
Protect our democracy by snitching on free speech and getting people arrested.
This is
Exactly.
1984 right there.
Dude, this is real. This
Yeah,
isn't like
wow.
so people have disinfo, hate speech, incitement, or harassment.
Jesus.
Dude, I am talking to Sean. I must have some mental health issue. I got you back for saying I have a brain of a clam. No,
It's
I
my
just,
problem for talking to
COVID-19
Clem
alert.
all the time.
no, but I mean, the thing is, that, like, literally, like, I mean, they try to push this stuff, and whatever, I'm gonna get into it, but I had something like, physical stuff, and This lady is like trying to like. I'm like, I know my mind. I know what's happening. I know my psychology. You're not going to tell me don't push or convey this to other people. It's very dangerous, right? And and the thing is now maybe a lot of people are freaking out, but then it's like, what is a mental health issue, dude? What does it even mean, mental health, right? What the heck is mental health? I mean, really, what does that word even mean? Mental. It comes from mental hygiene.
Right.
It's mental hygiene. This is mental hygiene, which means for like the 411 thing, essentially, right? And then go ahead, Sean.
Doesn't that come from eugenics, like genetic hygiene, really, in the end? Like the feeble-minded are the ones that they would sterilize and weed out, the weed races or whatever, Sanger used to say. Isn't this the same? Like that way it gives them the authority to go in there and like if someone deemed you feeble-minded back in this time in the 30s, and even Hitler and the Germans thought it was a great idea. They were like, look at America, they're doing great. Look at how they're just taking those retards and tying them down and taking out their, reproductive organs. And that's just the law. That's just what happens. And, it's like the government owns your body. They even did it to didn't they do that to Kennedy's sister?
Yeah, they gave her a lobotomy.
Yeah, and I thought they took out her, gave her a hysterectomy also.
Maybe they did. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, with the lobotomy thing, that's a whole nother freaking rabbit hole to go down there.
Oh
Jesus.
yeah, that dude who invented lobotomies? He was like on a hiking trip and gave someone a lobotomy with his like stone axe thing. Like,
Wow. Dude.
yeah, that guy was a
Wow.
psycho,
Yeah,
man.
the lobotomobile is just like, oh my god. He would
But
go around in a car.
if you guys don't mind, I just want to read this real quick. I just pulled this
Yeah.
up on Boston. So this will, I think, is pretty cool or interesting. So here we go. Mental health challenges in Boston have reached crisis levels, particularly among youth, with a significant increase in reported sadness and hopelessness. From 2015 to 2021, the percentage of high school students reporting persistent sadness rose from 26% to nearly 44%. With larger increases among teen girls, Latinx students, and LGBT youth. In 2021, about 44% of Boston high school students reported feeling sad or hopeless for 2 weeks or more, and less than half said they received the help they need when facing mental struggles. The city's youth are in crisis, with many experiencing suicidal ideation and planning, prompting officials to describe the situation as an epidemic. So they describe, and then they go on to use the language, it is a pandemic.
Uh-oh.
And then in response, Boston has lost a $21 million initiative funded by federal grants, primarily from the American Rescue Plan, to improve mental health services. So it's Project Provide, da 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 da. They have 24/7 call, text, chat. But anyways, there's all kinds of stuff. So they're describing it as a pandemic. Okay.
I would like to say that it's probably because all the kids have cell phones and they're all on Instagram looking at all the freaking women with better bodies and all the, and the freaking, the algorithms that Facebook is giving them, making them feel depressed and stuff, like 2016, there weren't as many cell phones. And then Obama started giving everybody free cell phones in 2016. And then all of a sudden everybody's depressed. Wonder why, like I don't know. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's correlation there, I think.
But I mean, they have, like I said, I'll maybe later or whatever, I'd show you this model for Massachusetts State with it's an inverted funnel. The first thing is police intervention. So,
Right.
I mean, literally, but then also like, it's like feeling sadness. Well, why are you feeling sad? Why are you making, I like, you have anger. Well, learn, you know what I mean? Like people cannot, you have to be able to develop and go through things also in order to grow up, right? So you have this
Right.
mollycoddling.
But I need a safe space.
Yeah, there ain't no safe space, bro. Not in my machine.
It's a cruel world out there. It's a law of the jungle. Anyway, okay, where are we? We're at page 23, 24.
Yeah, 23, 24. That's from, I think this is another
This is
Esther
August
Brooks. Esther Brooks
17th.
to Hoover.
Okay. Would you like me to take over?
Sure, you want to read this one?
All right. August 17th, 1936, Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, Department of Justice, Washington, D.C. Dear Mr. Hoover, permit me to thank you for the check covering my expenses while in Washington. Since my return, I have been particularly interested in one phase of the problem which seems of possible use to the Bureau, namely that question of the use of drugs as an aid to hypnosis or any allied condition. With this end in view, I have made several trips to Syracuse and have arranged the following setup, which I hope will meet with your approval. Dr. Steckel, superintendent of the psychiatric hospital, which is the branch of the hospital attached to the Syracuse Medical School, has obtained permission from the state commissioner, Parsons, to carry on research work with the so-called court cases. These are cases of delinquency placed in the institution by the court for a 30-day observation period. That's just like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. McMurphy was like put in by the court. Anyway, I'll go back to this. Very much the type of case with which you folks have at times to deal. Mr. Steckel agrees with your permission to permit such experiments as you may suggest. So these are going to be the guinea pigs, these people that are admitted for 30 days. Through the good offices of Dr. Steckel and Dr. Dooley of the University Medical School, I succeeded in interesting Dr. Butner acknowledged as the best anesthetist in Syracuse. He is particularly interested in the possibilities presented by nitrous oxide and also by various other drugs which might be used in such cases. I saw him this morning and am quite convinced that he will attack the problem in a very open-minded yet critical manner. Nitrous oxide is hallucinogenic in itself. You see the people on the dead lot with the balloons, they're doing the nitrous oxide. And it combines very well with LSD. I don't know if people know that, but they probably learned that here in 1936. All right. So this combination of doctors, I am convinced, would give us pretty much the setup we need. Dr. Steckel being the supervisor of a large hospital, Dr. Dooley, one of our national authorities on hypnotic drugs, and Dr. Butner, a really high-grade anesthetist. It would then be possible to attack the problem from a really scientific angle and discover just to what extent these drugs, in conjunction with hypnotism, could aid in obtaining information. It would be possible for us to begin this research at almost any time that the cases are ready in the hospital. Ideally, it might be a good idea if someone, say Mr. Coffey, could meet this group before the work began or be present at the first series of experiments with a view of keeping us on the right track. This would not, of course, be essential. Would it be at all possible for Dr. Butner to receive some compensation for the time and the materials which he might use? I told him that I would mention this question to you, and he replied that while he would be extremely glad to receive such compensation, he would be willing to contribute time and materials for the furtherance of the cause. I would greatly appreciate your reactions to this setup. Do please give my very sincerest regards to Mr. Nathan, Mr. Clegg, and the many others whom I met at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Dr. Cutton sends his best regards. Most sincerely yours, G.H. Estabrooks. So nitrous oxide is very interesting. We never really talked about that before, but that has, it's fast acting. It can bring you to another place mentally, like really, if you go hard on the stuff. And it even has anesthetic, it puts you out, like it'll make you knock out completely in a blackout. if you do too much too fast, and it goes away in seconds, and it's not traceable. They can't like test your pee or your blood. It's not like in your system anymore. Like your brain metabolizes it very quickly, and it goes away very quickly. Like in 5 minutes, it's gone again. So it's interesting that they're going for nitrous oxide, and they can put it in the air. You know, they can like clandestine attack somebody with that stuff. You know,
I like the euphemism. It would be possible to begin this research at almost any time that the cases are ready. So,
right?
you know, it's like they're starting to realize like we have to start using different terminology for what we're up to. Like,
Right.
Unsuspecting victims didn't say unsuspecting criminals or whatever.
But they're delinquents, right? So that it implies juvenile delinquents potentially. But these are people that are not necessarily crazy. They got some court problem, whatever it is, right? And they're there for a brief period of time for observation or just in lieu of going to prison, right? Sometimes you just go to the hospital instead of going to prison. Right. These are the people they're going to experiment on. So these are not even psychiatric patients. These are probably relatively normal people, right? And the way they use the word attack the problem, right? There's there's very like military, like let's go.
Furtherance of the cause.
It's like
we have a cause, we're attacking. Yeah. Right.
And like really even if he doesn't get paid, he's willing to donate his time and attend, like he really wants to help mind control the public.
He wants the resources of the FBI, probably is what he's really trying to do. He probably has a little bit of a sub rosa idea. But here's a comeback. Here's right back J. Edgar Hoover. I can't see who else he CC'd on this, but it looks like Mr. Coffee. With reference to your letter, August 28th, 1936, the Bureau has since received the request of the Torch Club for a speaker before their dinner on October 19th, and I've designated EP Coffee to fulfill this engagement. I wonder what the Torch Club is.
Good question.
Of course, I've never heard of that. Have you guys heard of the Torch Club?
No, but like a torch is like that's a symbol for the goddess, like like the Statue of Liberty, like
it's the light of Lucifer.
Torch. Right.
Yes. The light of Lucifer.
Yeah. The yes.
Luciferian light that Columbia holds. Right.
Right.
Accordingly, I think your suggestion is well taken that Mr. Coffee utilized this opportunity to confer further with you while he was in the vicinity, and he will therefore plan to be in Utica all day, 19th, and if necessary, the 20th. These dates will conveniently fit with your plans at that time. Sincerely, J. Edgar Hoover. Like this, just more correspondence. Best regards, Nathan. This is back to J. Edgar Hoover from Estabrooks. I don't think there's anything really that relevant. Here's another memorandum for the director. This is a good one. Is it not good? I don't know. It just shows that all these guys are involved. At the executive conference held today, at which there were Tolton Wright, so that's J. Edgar's lover, Quinn, Tam, Clegg, Foxworth, Schilder, and Nathan gave further consideration to the matter of the executive's conference action of September 4th, 1936, relative to the continuation of hypnotic experiments with Professor Estabrooks. It was decided by the conference that inasmuch as Mr. Coffee is to speak in Utica, New York in October at the Torch Club, whatever that is, it would be appropriate for him at that time to confer at length with Professor Estabrooks with a view to ascertaining whether it would be advisable to make arrangements to send the Bureau representative for a further 2-week study with Professor Estabrooks in order that said Bureau representative might be developed to perform hypnotic work himself, right? So this is the bleed over. We can get rid of frickin' Estabrooks and just do it ourselves, right?
This
Clyde Tolson, that's the gay lover dude.
In the sand at the beach there, the saddle shoes. The share screen right there is the Torch Club. You want to share that?
I do. What do you think that is? What is it? Oh, there's a lot of them. East Coast.
Yeah, all these states. They got one in Columbus. There.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, right. So
Centennial Club. Find a Torch Foundation. What is this?
It started in 1920s. I looked at it. So it's like supposed to be like a interdisciplinary, meeting of minds, various stuff. I may join that. It looks kind of cool.
It's exclusive. You could be a founder
$100.
society. Just pony up $5,000.
Oh man.
Uh,
Torch Foundation. Torch Foundation tax deductible. Torch Foundation grants. Torch Long Life Learning Mission through grants awarded. Torch clubs. This is weird. So I wonder. Yeah, it doesn't really say what it is.
1926.
Wow, big. Like, what do you do? What's the base? What
Right.
is
Torch
it?
Foundation.
We just
You
have
can
torches.
donate. You can donate and you can join.
There's a lot of clubs, though. That map shows that there's like clubs all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's see the honor roll. Let's see who's. Oh, these people seem important. Yeah, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry, guys. I'll stop sharing. Here we go.
I wonder if anybody knows in the comments knows what the Torch Club is. Let me know.
Should have looked wiki. It was what it told us.
Tara just woke up. So happy to see this live. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday,
Tara.
Tara. Thanks for joining us. I think you can restream this too. Like you're able to like go onto your YouTube channel and send it to your followers too if you haven't.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube. I think I'm restreaming.
I think there's a capacity
Listeners.
for a listener to actually
restream Oh, okay.
Sweet.
restream like they can push it forward or something. It's not just like
Well,
some kind of
everyone
thing
is
on
welcome
YouTube.
to do that. All you
Yeah.
listeners. Yeah.
This is interesting. It's just they're in 1936. They're just following up on Estabrooks. Messrs. Quinn Schilder and Nathan thought that further experimentation and study should be conducted by the Bureau Lab. Mr. Schilder stated he saw no objection to writing a letter every couple months to Estabrooks. So this is where the FBI decides, hey, we can do it ourselves.
Right.
This is Tam, so another big wig at the. This is interesting. It's the lie detector thing. I'll read this one. August 6, 1936, memorandum for the director. So this is for J. Edgar Hoover, and all these other people are CC'd: Coffey, Clegg, Tolson, Tam. I observed with a great deal of interest the experiments conducted by Professor Estabrooks at the Bureau relative to the use of hypnosis in criminal investigations. Admitting that but 1/5 of all adults are susceptible to hypnosis, I believe that this subject presents very definite possibilities for the Bureau within a limited field. In every gang and mob, there are weaklings. I believe that through these weaklings, we may obtain a great deal of valuable information.
Wow.
In the Bremer case, Bolton, of course, talked voluntarily. Who's Bremer? Is that
I recognize it. Well,
is
that's
that the
that's
one
a
with
recent-
the abducted the baby or whatever? Wasn't it Bremer?
I'm not
Abducted
sure.
Charles
Lindbergh baby?
I don't know, maybe not. If he had not, I feel that through the use of hypnosis, we might have obtained valuable information from Volney Davis, Edmund Murray, and the minor members of the gang, particularly the women associates. We are confronted, of course, with a practical difficulty in developing both a technique and a skilled operator to handle this type of work. I believe Dr. Estabrooks' suggestion that the lie detector be utilized as a mechanical means of inducing the subject to relax, etc., has decided possibilities, as does the further suggested use of the pretext of the hypnotic operator to be a doctor who is to prescribe for the subject. So we talked about the psychogalvanometer last time, right?
Right. Yeah.
I believe that the laboratory should give serious, immediate, and continual attention to the development of a proper expert in this field and suggest that some person be designated, preferably with some educational background in normal and abnormal psychology, to spend some time at Colgate with Dr. Estabrooks in order that he may be qualified as a hypnotist. In the selection of a personnel for this assignment, it is, of course, not necessary that the person chosen have an academic knowledge of psychology at the time of his selection, because by concentrated study, a person could acquire all that is incorporated in legitimate textbooks on this subject in a period of 3 or 4 weeks, respectively. EA Tim. So there's not a lot of writing at that time, I guess, right? If you can do it in 3 or 4 weeks.
It's funny that they saying 1 in 5 is hypnotizable or whatever, and they can use the dupes. And then you look around at society and look at how many stupid people there are, and how they're being used as dupes, and they're all voting for our enslavement and shit. Like, excuse my language.
That's crazy. Erica Kirk is speaking in front of a banner with a torch on it. That's weird.
Oh, right. And that's the queen, the goddess.
This is they had to reschedule something because of unforeseen circumstances. Torch Club, they needed a substitute. H.R. Whitley.
I'm not sure how much I would be able to relax if I was hooked up to a machine. It says like the machine will be used to make the people relax. Like we just read a minute ago. I don't know if that makes people relax too much, being hooked up to wires like that. Kind of a nightmare.
But the next one, or this, I think I'm on the page. This
30. I have 32.
Okay, I'm 33. This is interesting slightly. You see that?
Does anybody else want to read, or should
I'll read it? So, okay, October 26, 1936, G.A. Estabrooks, Colgate University, Hamilton, New York. Dear Dr. Estabrooks, I am in receipt of your letter of October 19th, 1936, and wish to advise that Mr. Coffey looks forward to his conference with you this week. With regard to your reference to the work of V.B. Lyons, Institute for Juvenile Research, Chicago, you are advised that Mr. Lyons' research has previously come to the attention of the Bureau and has been found to be very interesting. Sincerely yours, J. Edgar Hoover. So they're experimenting with youth, right?
Yeah,
juvenile, right there, straight up juveniles. So
just like Charles Manson was in the youth homes and was, I guess I don't know the specifics of it, but I know that.
So was Lee Harvey Oswald.
There you go. Right. And who's the guy from Boston there? The king, the Irish mobster.
Whitey Bulger.
Whitey Bulger too. Yeah.
He was MK. He was given like heavy drugs when he was at Alcatraz. He was a test subject. There's no question about it.
Exactly. Right.
Super violent. Let's see. Duties. Coffee couldn't make it up north. I wish you to refer Mr. Coffey to the name of V.B. Lyon, Institute for Juvenile Research, Chicago. I've just been reading a review of his work in psychological abstracts. Apparently, he has some interesting slants on the lie detector. Sincerely yours, Esterbrook. So, more correspondence. There's things, they're just trying to straighten things out. Rearranging conferences.
Police problems of today.
The letter has been received. Just kind of comment on my address. That's Esterbrook's to somebody. I don't know who it is. Publications being sent. Dear Mr. Hoover, October 23rd, 1936, from Colgate. I've just been reading your article, Police Problems of Today. Seems you make one very excellent suggestion there, namely roll of honor for policemen who died in the performance of their duty. I think of a few devices which tend more to the creation of a proper esprit de corps than some such memorial in a shrine at Washington. I've enjoyed this article very much, and I'm hoping that you will keep me on your mailing list for future reference, George Estabrooks. Let's see, Coffee informed me, Butner to somebody. I don't know who that is. Dear Dr. Steckel, Syracuse Psychiatric Hospital, 1936. Mr. Coffey has informed me of the interesting conference he attended with you, Dooley, Butner, Estabrooks, at which time the possible influence of both drugs and hypnotism in connection with the interrogation of criminal subjects were discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Undoubtedly, this Bureau would find valuable data concerning such influence if ever established and reported. The efforts directed along this line by you and associates are most commendatory, and I shall be very pleased to hear from time to time progress which you may make in this regard.
It's kind of weird marks on the paper, isn't there? Like kind of weird symbols and, no, I mean just like the handwriting, and that, but anyways.
So they want to drug and hypnotize criminal subjects that are being interrogated.
That are juveniles also.
Right. This sounds very, I don't know if this is legal, guys.
And there's other, like, they're referencing these things. Black Wind. Coffee suggestions. I'm transmitting here with copies of monograms, which at various times have been brought up to the attention of the Bureau, which are entitled as follows: Production of Sleep and Rest in Psychotic Cases by W.J. Blackwen, and then Narcosis as Therapy in Neuropsychiatric Conditions
What does that
by
mean?
Blackman. What is narcosis?
Jesus.
Is that like drug death?
Uh,
So sodium amytal in certain nervous and mental conditions. Wow, so that's the truth serum drug.
wow.
Black one. Criminal confessions under narcosis. Lawrence. Physiological observations during intravenous sodium amytal medications. Lawrence Reese and Washburn. They're studying this crap in 1936.
So narcosis is death. Narcosis is
Death by
premature
drug.
death of cells or tissues in living organisms caused by external factors such as injury, infection, trauma, lack of blood flow, or exposure to toxins. It is characterized by uncontrolled cell death involving cell swelling, rupture of the plasma membrane, release of intercellular contents, and subsequent inflammation due to the spillage of cellular materials like DNA, ATP, and proteins. Unlike apoptosis, which is regulated in an orderly form of cell death, necrosis is generally considered chaotic and unregulated, often resulting in tissue damage and secondary. Its process can occur in various organs like brain. Yeah, so it's not fun. It doesn't sound like.
Well said.
And the earlier in this missive or this correspondence is that they say, I feel that much good can come of the experiments along this line contemplated, by you and your associates, and your intimate knowledge of pharmacology and previous research experience in the effects of various drugs on the individual should be particularly helpful. So it's a lot of good can come from narcosis, guys. That's therapy. Wow. That's disturbing.
I mean, narcosis is like, so you're pushing people to the brink of death or potentially killing them or causing, organ failure or brain damage, whatever. So it's DNA rupturing. I mean, it's serious damage to the organism, but I guess it works, you know. But I love this. The next one, Syracuse Psychopathic Hospital, State of New York Department of Mental Hygiene. Right there. Do you see that?
Wow.
Page 42, right there.
Wow.
Department of Mental Hygiene.
Steckel's involved in this. There he is, the director, right there. He's in these letters.
But it's a psychopathic hospital.
Yeah. Is there any other kind?
But I mean,
it's
psychopath.
Art asks, is it possible that broadcast cable TV signals may contain hypnotic technology? Yes. Yes, it may. Wow. I mean, I don't have any proof, but
This has been this is studied. There's a lot of there's some books in the early 70s. There's a lot more research on the effect of television than there is on, like, say, internet, right? But there's some very from the late 60s to early 70s, a lot of scientific research showing basically the television can induce sort of a hypnotic dream state that can last for up to 2 weeks. And it's so, and then there's all these different things. So literally, the television, with the, you got flicker rate, you got the images, you got this and that. It will put you, like, you will, in a sense, you'll be living inside the television show. Like you will be under a state of hypnosis, and again, it lasts for up to 2 weeks. And this is just because of the way it basically, in your normal functioning, right? Cognitive functioning, impressions of reality, external reality. It puts you sort of in this sort of trance type of a state, and then you sort of the mind reconditions. So the television is real, external world is not, right? And so this has been, it's very well studied, actually. And I have some of these books. They're hard to find now, but yeah. So absolutely. I mean, and then you go into radio frequency trance inducing. So there's a lot of stuff. And then again, carrier waves, right? You have carrier waves means that you have like, for example, you have a song, and then this song is a carrier wave for a type of frequency that will cause neural entrainment. So the actual frequency that is or frequencies, whatever, that are causing the effect are masked, right? So it's like again, you have a carrier frequency. So in a sense, the television also is a carrier wave for the hypnotic suggestion or induction or whatever it may be, right? So there's a lot of things that can be piggybacked on that, which may absolutely not be perceivable consciously, right? So carrier wave, again, you have a sound, da da da, but da 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 da. All right, I'm teaching my dog to sing. He's not here, so if he sings, man, I'm gonna be a millionaire. But he can't sing, only for me. But anyways, but that's but
We
but
just
that's
talked about that earlier, right, Hans? The Victrola, right?
yeah.
He had some kind of
His master's voice, right?
Right, RCA,
RCA, yeah.
RCA
But no, what I'm
Victor.
saying is like so that like you
Amazing.
hear something, and so this is something I really started noticing. I mean, like I even heard this in certain like podcasts, right? So you're listening to something, suddenly you notice you get in a really dark mood, right? There's something like really heavy. And then I analyzed this a few times, and it may sound just like a bit of like, maybe a bad signal, a little bit of digital warping or, whatever, low quality. That's the carrier wave, right? And so I mean, so I can analyze it. I've done, I did this a number of years ago, but this can happen, right? And so, and then if you notice, I mean, have you ever had that experience? Like you put something on, like so as the Alex Jones, maybe I won't be on. Did I burn my bridge with Tucker and Alex? I don't know.
better watch out.
Yeah, dude,
Stay
come
away
on.
from Alex, dude.
But I love, but I'm saying like you listen to certain things, even things on YouTube. You have a lecture, and you may notice some like digital noise, right? It may be whoever's talk, right? You listen to it. If you start to notice a little bit of a mood shift, right? Now, or something, right? And I remember this when I first noticed this really clearly. I'm like, wait, I suddenly have this very dark, negative, like I feel really angry and for no reason, right? And then, wait, I noticed that the record, it sounds, you just ignore it, right? Just a little bit of background noise, that's a carrier wave. And that's where you insert the frequency. And you can do acoustic analysis and ascertain that. So yeah, it's very much out there. And go ahead. Yeah.
My friend Freeman Fly talks about how he and his girlfriend at the time went to the Hannah Montana movie, the Miley Cyrus thing, and they were watching, and both of them started crying. And they're like, "What the hell? What is going on?" They didn't know why, but it was an induction from the movie. It like made them. They didn't even feel anything for the characters. It's just made to happen. Like it was very weird.
Wow. And they said I did that one show with the PsyOp Cinema guys about Taylor Swift, where people are having like amnesia and
Right.
weird responses, and then Astro World and all these things. Like you're going into like mind control lab, bro. Going
Well, no, exactly. So like Taylor Swift or something. So even though on the surface, there may even be lots of like crazy stuff, and Taylor's, I think she did some like crazy like occult ritual stuff. Whoa, but that's not even really the real deal, right? What's like the Hannah Montana movie, whatever is triggering that response is completely beneath your conscious perception threshold. It is being embedded, whether a combination of photic driving through flicker rates, frequency modulation, this or that, subliminal triggers, whatever, and then, or, 25th frame, whatever.
Right.
This is where it's happening, but it may not have. It is completely, I mean, unless you really go frame by frame and you're able to ascertain, that could be really buried deep inside. It may even be fragmented, right? So basically you have like your attention, right? So if you're following a narrative or following a plot, your mind is going to create sort of a narrative cohesion. You can embed triggers that your mind will stitch together as a narrative.
Wow.
So the triggers don't have to be sequential. You know what I'm saying? And then it will create this induction, which is even more powerful because it's completely hidden from the conscious threshold.
And your mind created it, so it trusts it more because it's what ordered all the pieces, right?
Exactly. And this is very similar. Like if you look at, say, the binaural beats, right? So binaural beats, and then I know, like some people are really into them. I was thinking about doing some stuff, some music using those, but I know people also listen to them all the time, da da da. So you don't necessarily know what you're getting. But how do binaural beats work? Exactly same process, right? It is the process, like say, if you're going down a road and there's a fence and there may be some missing fence posts, your mind will fill in those missing blanks, right? There's a lot of things your mind fills in the background. So binaural beats, they work. You have two frequencies that are very, very close, right? So then you get the infrasound, you get the low subsonic sound. Your brain creates that infrasound. It doesn't actually exist in reality. Okay, this goes back to the Baroque era where there were certain frequencies you could not play the organs, right? You couldn't play these super low bass notes. So they would play a series of harmonics, upper harmonics, and you would hear like duh, like a super low note that actually didn't exist. Your mind created that note. So this is how, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't the chants, don't when they're chanting, they do the drone and the different tones of drone create that effect as well. Anyway, I'm not I I'm sorry guys. But yeah, that is super interesting how what you said there. Sorry.
I always remember that Astro World when they like when it started, they had this large noise, like the intro starts, like they just like everybody came to attention. It's really powerful, and then the whole mind control swirl and everything is going on, and
Right.
people died and people flopped around. I mean, crazy stuff happened at that Astro World. It's like they unleashed a portal to mind control hell or something like that.
Right. Hans will tell you all about it. We talked about it on my show.
Oh, you guys didn't ask for? I did one too.
Well, we related it to the Klepoth and that whole larger
Makes
working.
perfect sense, yeah.
Oh yeah, and in fact, we had that article. We never even got into it because I got into all the numerology stuff. But you have an article from someone at like this Islamic university, which is actually pretty cool, academic article on all the occult elements
Oh,
of
really?
Astroworld,
Wow.
and
Wow.
it's very detailed, right? We didn't even break it down, but yeah,
We're gonna do a part 2 in the future. We have
part
that.
three, part
Yeah,
three.
3. Yeah, there you go. Okay, sorry.
We haven't done a part 2 on our Hosanna Church thing, too.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole nother one we could do another couple hours.
This is wonderful. I mean, we got so many shows in the air, but this is great. Okay.
Give me, you guys just continue on. I'll be gone
Yeah,
for
we
just a
got
couple minutes.
So, Hans, you've done a lot of study on the sound induction and how like concerts are it's like a ritual, in a sense. And do you see that as being like that is what it is, and there's no longer any other kind of concert, it's all just one big ritual scene? Like you got Tool and you got you know Kesha and you got Cardi B, and like all of them are doing the same thing. Do you think am I right?
I'm not that much familiar with like modern concert culture to make a statement on that, but I mean,
Okay.
but the ritual, the thing is that like Grateful Dead, right? They talk about their shows are literally designed as, or they were designed, right, as ritual induction, right? And this is the whole ritual process is just like some kind of a church ceremony, an initiation ceremony, rite of passage, right? So these are, ritual process, right? It's been around for since humanity was, in the caves or whatever. But basically, so ritual processing has a particular sequence, right? And that sequence, um, if it works, will literally create some type of a transformation in the person. It's almost like a ritual in a sense. You could say it's like, I mean, wedding, there's a transformative process, right? You come in, you go through this threshold, right? You have an initiation, then you're transformed, and then you return to reality, but you return as a different, you're changed, right? And ritual can, I mean, like you look at, say, like even the Masonic induction ritual, right? Where you're blindfolded, right? That's a great example because it creates, it's a sense of, death and rebirth, right? That's
Right.
kind of a fun. I mean, depends on the potency of the ritual. Like a graduation ceremony is a type of ritual, but
Right.
but if you you can do you can actually create fundamental changes in people, right? Look at these inductions, people have in the whatever, boot camp. That's
Right.
extended type of ritual processing in a certain way, right?
Right. But
You-
even the Grateful Dead, just like for someone to try LSD for the first time and they hear this jazz music, the blues music mixed together, and everybody's dancing and there's women with their tops off and everybody's smiling. It's like it can change you, like um I don't know. But yeah, boot camp too. But I'm just saying like that point there, like that it was such a magical place that just like was there for a fleeting moment and then it's gone. And it gives all these people like their first time trying L or whatever. And it changes their perspective. And then they'll go on tour with the band and then they just leave their home and everything that they've done. Like they have this new consciousness, this new life. And it's like I've known many people that have gone on tour for many years and just, we'll see them later, I guess, when the dead comes back around, and they have this totally different economy, totally different morality, like it's new, different words that they speak. It's like a totally different world. It's crazy.
Well, see, they're inducted, right? That's the ritual, and so they're returning as part of that. Now, you mentioned, see, the astral, right? So you have this huge sound. You want the initiation, or there's first a separation, right? You separated from the normal reality, and so like that big sound at Astro World, right? That's exactly what that is, right? And so the ritual, whatever you want to call it, it's so deeply embedded in the human experience, right? So it's very powerful means, right, of doing whatever you want. But like, so you have this initial, like that shocking sound, which also that may have all kinds of, infrasound, sonic triggers, program implant from the sound, but also you're separating the person from their reality. Suddenly they're in this new world, but this is the danger part, right? So to speak, you're in this threshold, then you return. Maybe you return in a body bag if you're at Astroworld, you know what I mean? But that is absolutely ritual processing. In this case, it's a traumatic, negative ritual processing, right? But if you piggyback, these types of light sounds, then you piggyback occult stuff, like you say, a Tool
Right.
concert. So you really can create very powerful things, marrying technology, right? So if you look at, mystery schools, right? You're blindfolded, you go down, Elysian mystery rites, and you're given, you drink a drink, or, Hasani Saba, great example, right? The assassins. You go in, you're having a meal, suddenly you're with, 72 virgins, and you're like, oh, this is great. And then you wake up, oh, well, you just were in paradise, and now you become an assassin. Exact ritual processing. You go through that, you're a different person. So
Right.
this is very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, like the Grateful Dead show is like heaven for Hassani Sabah, where they go and there's bare boobs bouncing and like drugs everywhere for everybody, and it's just like this wonderful paradise. And yeah, and they join the cult, it's interesting. Um,
I'm
so
gonna read it.
William, you have
Yeah,
returned. Yes,
I'm
please.
gonna back. I'm gonna just read some comments, just like
I'll be right back. I got it.
Okay, cool.
Sure. Okay.
Johnny, you said your eyes are literally the outside extension of the brain for light and other non-visual frequency inputs. That's true.
Right. The band, speaking of Grateful Dead, there were people that were on different drugs that were receiving the same visual hallucination.
Wow.
Yeah, so like they were able to induce whatever is being felt by the whole crowd at once. It's really interesting how they harmonize
Imagine
everybody.
like the power behind that, knowing that you'll have crowds or the same people following you around, and
Yes.
what you can do. So like musicians get bored playing, they're probably doing stuff behind the scenes to induce or
Right.
just do something to see what they can do to their followers. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Right. I mean, and they're at least playing different versions of the same tune over and over again. It's like, at least Grateful Dead would jam for a little bit.
Tara says Master P performed at night and told everybody in the audience try not to die. Wow.
Well, that's helpful.
Johnny's, you are guys are the best stream of subconsciousness on the interwebsites. I think that's a compliment. Zoe said, I did an ayahuasca retreat and was being taken up octave by octave through sounds that absolutely do not exist to us normally. I hummed loudly with every breath for hours to stay tethered to my body. Interesting.
Wow.
I'll reread that for Hans if they're interested in that. Ghost Band calls concerts rituals. That's probably not a joke. They are a known occult band. Ghost. All their songs are like on the square and all this
Isn't that guy they got like a new singer every time, and it's
I
like
don't know, but they
there's
dress up like Kiss,
dress up like the
yeah.
Pope or something, like some kind of
Yeah, like a
satanic.
dark pope. Yeah.
Right.
If the NFL, this is Tara again, award ceremony or rituals plus the acceleration groups, to me, it seems like it's all acceleration. It's working. I agree.
Yeah.
Have any of you read Donald Marshall? I don't know who that is.
No.
By gum, says Frankfurt School in Tavistock. Yep.
I don't know Donald Marshall. Who's that?
I don't know who he is. I don't know. Somebody tell me who Donald Marshall is in the comments. Tara, my mom asked me about the band Ghost the other day. I said, I don't know the Devil Worshippers. She said, well, they look like it. Yeah, I think they are. I've listened to some. They're big in Europe. And a lot of their songs are like occult based. I've seen Tool 6 times over the years, and
I've seen 8. Yeah.
You know,
I
see this comment, this Tara, goddess of mercy, but just one thing, you know, sometimes like, so you hear, so not to get too esoteric, but sometimes, you know, you get, you know, ringing in the ear, right? So there's a variety of causes. Sometimes it can do with the vagus nerve, sometimes can do with electric, you know, some kind of frequency, and sometimes with non-physical entities also. So especially if you're doing meth, you know, meth is a
shadow people. Right?
Meth is a demonic porthole, man. If you want to,
because of the dopamine,
you want to go to the hell realm, man.
Yeah.
You can just take meth.
I've known people who've had meth experiments. Johnny, that wasn't an insult because he followed up with, sure, gents, you dig deep. Thank you, Johnny. That's Tara again said people with methamphetamine experiences where they're seeing the same hallucinations after doing the same drug, but not together at the time. They're not even together.
Jerry Marzinski says he's spoken to many people, meth addicts, that have been plagued by schizophrenic voices, and the shadow people are the voices, you know, and like he says that when you're really bad in the meth and you might be affected by these shadow people, if you can see their eyes, apparently if they're just black holes for eyes, you're not so bad off when you see the shadow people. But if you can see they have eyes, then you better start weaning off the meth because they might be coming to get you.
Tara says Astral World, the entrance was the gate to hell. Probably F you.
Right.
How come I can't see this YouTube response in the chat? I get them all from I'm streaming to 6 sites right now, guys, and then they're restreaming to their sites. So all of the texts come to me on StreamYard. And so you won't see certain places. Like you have to go to Rumble to see ones. You have to go to my 3 YouTube channels to see others. And it could be on any one because I got all my channels back at the beginning of October. So that's why you're not seeing the chat. You can see, I'm trying to go through the chats. You should be able to see them if you're watching this live. So that's why. Tara,
love this participation.
Marsh, it's all about the clones. I think they're European. Let's go esoteric while you were talking about Tool, of my favorite band. I don't listen to them a lot because it affects me.
Wow.
I don't know who Donald Marshall is yet, guys. Somebody tell me his brother BD. I went to a Grateful Dead concert years ago, and all they did was tune up their instruments.
If they even got it tuned, man.
That was the show. That's funny.
Dude, that's what it sounds like to some people.
No, I used to think Jerry. I used to like Jerry's great, man. But then it's like, it's like just
pretty fun.
He's a noodle master, but
that's something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a noodle guy. He's all right, but
it's all right. I like it.
He's all right. Yeah, as long as you want to get induced into the satanic conspiracy of the Grateful Dead.
I like Tool also, and I also like Deicide and like Cannibal Corpse and crap. Like I like some bad stuff.
Yeah, no. It's just again, you know, it's like any effect, right? But Tool,
right,
for example, they are doing things, right? So if you're also aware of that, okay, well, it's like. Maybe I know. Say, well, I'm going to take meth. I know what it's going to do, and if I start seeing shadow people, I'll stop.
Good luck.
You know.
Yeah, but I mean, like Tool, you know, you can see that some of the members are doing positive things in life. You know, if you look at Danny Carey, I don't think of him as doing any negative influence on the world. I mean, he does have a weird book collection, but it's not harming anybody. And you know, and he's like a magician learning how to integrate different mathematics into his drumming, and you know, he's a master at that. Like you know, I think he's a good dude. But Maynard, on the other hand, is working for them, and he's, you know, creating these ideas and putting these inculcating these beliefs into people. You know, I don't know. I think what you do with it is what is to show how evil they really are. You know, some magicians aren't really doing bad stuff. You know, I don't know. I think that you know, I believe that Tool is doing some workings, but I don't think it's all bad. I think in the beginning it started bad, and I think towards the later albums they're trying to bring people onto a better. If you can cognize higher ideas, then they're trying to drag people up out of the muck. You know, some of the songs, at least, I think they're doing some pretty good stuff lately.
You know, I just on a side note, I've encountered. I had a guy, a friend. He's a journalist, but he was talking to me a couple days ago. He's talking about Obama had all these clones, and the clones would only live. They live for a short time. And then I heard this talk of Fritz Springmeier from like '96, and he's talking about cloning, that they already have cloning, and they can do consciousness transfer into clones.
Right.
I don't know if that exists or not, but maybe it does, man. Of course, some people. I heard another guy say that they had cloning back in the '70s, and his girlfriend worked at this hospital, and they had organs cloned for like wealthy people. They would make clones of their various organs for organ replacements, including even bodies. I don't know. I don't know anything about cloning, but
That was Aldous Huxley book, The Island. I think that was one of Aldous Huxley's books where they were cloning people for the organs for rich people. That was,
well, this is supposedly in reality. In
no, I know,
but
but it just fiction to fact. You know what I'm saying? It's just more of that.
yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
it's a little far out for me, but you know, hey.
But they, I think I remember hearing Fritz Springmeier talk about clones at the Free Your Mind conference years ago, and I had a guest, Alondra Markman, who talks about his consciousness would go into other versions of himself on different timelines and would be a slave to the handlers to do other missions in other lives. Like, it's very strange, the type of. I can't really explain it, guys. You're gonna have to look up Alondra Markman, but it's very weird stuff.
Well, you know, I mean, there are actual like types of yoga or esoteric things. Like there's one thing where you can literally like I think I mentioned before, but it's called you know, where you eject your POA, you eject your consciousness out of the crown of your head, right? But
Right.
you can also go into someone else's body, and there's techniques that when you die, you can go in and you can eject your consciousness and go into someone else's body. I
Just
mean, whether or not people can do that, but they've been around for several thousand years, and they're actual, you know, techniques. Obviously, you have to do pretty advanced type of,
Being
but
John
who knows?
Malkovich.
Who knows? You know.
The Being John Malkovich movie, where the people go into the new body through the consciousness. They reside within the head of the golem, basically, of John Malkovich. You know, it was a very weird story, but that's kind of the same idea. That writer is a genius. I forget his name. The guy who wrote that. He also did. He also did this kids movie, Orion in the Dark. Very good movie. My kid loves that movie. It's a really good one. But Charlie Kaufman is the writer. Very good. He did Be Kind, Rewind, and some other ones. Very fun. Awesome. Anyway, sorry. Getting back to this, guys.
Let's do this. We are at the 2-hour mark. We've got a couple hundred listeners. Thanks for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. If you like the show, retweet it, restream it. Do you want to Wake the Dead? Yeah. You want me to read this one?
I'll take over. Okay.
Okay, go. You read it.
All right. Are we on 42? Or we're on?
I am on 41.
41.
My 41. Syracuse Psychopathic Hospital.
Okay. All right. State of New York is the heading there. Department of Mental Hygiene. Syracuse Psychopathic Hospital, Syracuse, New York. This is dated November 4th, 1936. Mr. J. Edgar Hoover, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Dear Sir, I appreciate your courteous letter referring to the experiments we are attempting to carry out here, which experiments may eventually be of service to your department. You may rest assured that we shall keep you informed of any progress which we may make and appreciate the interest you manifest in this project. Sincerely yours, Director. That's so. Thanks, guys. We love that you love us. And Syracuse Psychopathic Hospital is a perfect place to do these experiments, right, Hans?
The hospital. It'd be interesting to look. Actually, I mentioned that mental hygiene stuff, but yeah, there's. I didn't know. I know that like Kurt Lewin with the psychological topology, and he goes in like the Macy Conference guys, and that whole thing with the United Nations. I think so. The mental hygiene, though, it'd be interesting to look because it's. I mean, mental hygiene is literally. You talk about it's just basically mind control.
Right.
I mean, it's right there, cleaning mental hygiene. Like, it's like it's so that's interesting just to see that.
Brainwashing, right?
Yeah,
Like the
psych.
word from my Manchurian Candidate, brainwashing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I interrupted you. I should
My mic
I
is
should
muted.
cut
Anybody
myself.
want to read this next one, or should I?
Okay,
Any
where are we at?
volunteers?
I don't mind.
Okay,
October
go for it.
30th.
Yeah, I have it. I
Okay.
have the November 19th.
Okay, next one.
I think that one, there's nothing on there. I would go to
Okay.
the next one.
All right,
November
November 19th, 1936. Memorandum for the director. Revisit of Mr. Coffee with Dr. G.H. Estabrooks. The conference considered the report submitted by Mr. Coffee concerning his visit with Dr. G.H. Estabrooks at Colgate University, at which time they discussed the subjects of experiments with various truth serum substances and the feasibility of teaching an employee of the Bureau's technical laboratory the principles of hypnotism. Mr. Coffee attended during the conference's consideration and explained the objectives of the experiments in Syracuse, pointing out that they would be conducted in the Syracuse Psychiatric Hospital and that the Bureau would not be officially connected with them. And they would be conducted by 3 competent physicians, 2 of whom are in quasi-public service, and the third being a private practitioner, should, in Mr. Coffey's opinion, be partly compensated, at least for supplies and materials, which he will have to use in the experiment. Do you want to make a comment? I heard you laughing there, William.
Well, I just think it's funny. Like the Bureau would not be officially connected, so they're just distancing themselves, but watching everything. So I think it's really important to understand how involved they are.
It's good that they put it in black and white, and we can just read it right there.
But the letterhead though, for the psychopathic hospital, and then they're calling it psychiatric hospital. I just find that okay. Anyways, psychopathic hospital.
They got rid of all that terminology because they realized how bad it was. Mental hygiene and psychopathic hospital. Wow, this really happened, people. This is not.
We're looking at it.
You aren't making it up. Incredible.
It's just like how they renamed the Margaret Sanger Institute, the Hillary Clinton's hero. Anyway, as a result of its consideration, the conference makes 2 recommendations as follows. 1, Mr. Coffey arranged to go to Syracuse again and witness one of these experiments at the Syracuse Psychiatric Hospital, and at the time arranged to pay a sum of money to Dr. J.J. Butner for his services, supplies, and equipment, which payment is to be approximated at a rate of $15 for each day of experimenting. It being understood that such experiments are tentatively planned to be conducted on Thursday of each week. At this time, Mr. Coffey will explain to Dr. Butner that the Bureau is desirous of helping where possible and will be in a position to meet these incidental expenses, at least until July 1st or at the end of this fiscal year. Mr. Coffey will also arrange to keep in close touch with these experiments and see that the Bureau is fully apprised of developments as they occur. 2, with regard to teaching a Bureau employee the principles of hypnotism, the conference recommends the rejection of Dr. Estabrooks' proposals insofar as they pertain to sending 3 individuals down to Washington for the purpose of becoming more or less permanent subjects of these experiments. The conference does not feel that the Bureau...
Permanent subjects. That's
scary.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's like secret experiment stuff. This is incredible.
The conference does not feel that the Bureau is in any position to be responsible for these people coming to Washington and taking up their residence here. On the other hand, the conference recommends that Mr. Coffey select from among the employees of the laboratory one best adapted, in his opinion, to this work, and make arrangements for that employee to study and learn the principles of hypnotism, obtaining the best instruction possible, having in mind that in addition to the instruction, which might be obtained from Dr. Estabrooks, should he visit the Bureau again during the Christmas holidays, the laboratory employee can also seek instruction and advice from psychologists in the local universities who may be versed in the subject of hypnotism. A letter has been prepared to Dr. Estabrooks in the event of your approval of these recommendations, pointing out to him the fact that his proposals to send 3 subjects down here do not seem practical, and further making arrangements for Mr. Coffey's subsequent visit to Syracuse. Those attending the conference were Messrs. Glavin, Tolson, Tam, Nathan, Foxworth, and Schilder. Respectfully for the conference, Clyde Tolson, Chairman, T.D. Quinn, Secretary.
See how it's like a big group? It's like a team meeting, this conference.
Yeah.
They're all coming together. It's not just some individual. They're all studying it. It's really incredible.
I just real quick, I looked up the Department of Mental Hygiene, New York State, established in 1926-27. Frederick W. Parsons Commission and William J. Tiffany, I don't know him. But it said by 1950, the department had become the largest agency in New York State government, employing over 24,000 people.
Wow.
And consuming more than a third of the state budget. So that's mental hygiene laws revised and reenacted in 1972. But there you go. I mean, it's like you're talking about New York State, New York City. I mean, it's the largest body, and at least, I don't know if it is now, but I mean,
that's incredible. That's a lot of money allocated to the mind control, right? I mean, literally, that's what that is.
There's so many pictures of Hoover and Tolson together. I didn't know that, but
they're
so just
cute.
Constantly together, playing dress up together.
They're like matching suits.
Yeah, it's just really something else. I didn't.
Right there, the middle one. Look, they're wearing the same hats.
Queer eye for the FBI guy.
Well said. Well said.
Oh, look at them, both dressed in white. Look at that one. Like they're like he's wearing like some kind of pompadour.
Luciferian priests.
That's 36. This is exactly the time of the stuff. Wow. So this image is concurrent with our
literally
inquiry.
Exactly matching suits and hats. There's several. Man.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yeah, it's really something else. I'm trying to wonder if these are...
Talk about clams, right?
These are the other ones. Carpus, Brantley, Hoover, Connolly, Galvin. I think we saw Galvin in one of these. Carpus, wasn't Alvin Carpus, wasn't he a cellmate of Charles Manson? I'm almost positive that he was in jail with Carpus. That's an old story. I don't know why I know that. Because he learned stuff from him, from Carpus. Anyway, you guys are both muted.
I don't know what to say to that, but I mean, I don't know that as a fact. But that piece that Danny Aiello that we brought, I think it was episode 4 or something, where he talked about being next to Charles Manson's cell and he got them to feel high on dope, even though there was no dope. That's incredible.
Oh yeah. But look at this one down at the bottom. They're both, the shirts are off. Like he's got his hand on, it looks like on Hoover's crotch. You see that word there?
From that picture right there?
Scroll down at the bottom.
Scroll down if you dare.
Okay, hold on.
You're almost there, right there. Yeah. Oh no.
It's pretty gay.
It's like, I mean, he's like literally it looks like he has his hand on his crotch, and they're both like shirts are off and
squeezing a banana.
But they're always matching. That's so cute. I mean, it's really cute.
They really are. They're a cute couple, guys. Here it is.
Okay. And he's holding the rifle, dude.
He's
Yeah,
holding a
dude,
rod. It's a fishing rod.
like
He's like, let me hold
that's
your
like gay
rod.
porn from the 30s. That's what this
Yeah,
is.
right. That might be from one of their videos, blackmail videos.
No, look at that.
Well said.
No, look at his hand. It's like his hand is going in his mouth. The other guy's hand is like that. He's holding a fishing rod. Oh my
Too
God.
funny.
Look at that.
Let's see.
Our listeners are like, these guys are crazy.
But it's important to put the faces to these names where these are like real people at the same time. Like
Yes.
the thing is that Hoover's involved in so much in American history from World War II on that he knew all this stuff. These guys all knew this stuff and they kept their mouth shut. Nobody knew they knew. Nobody knew they knew all this mind control stuff.
And there's also the implication with the police department training, right? That they're able to influence the local police department. So that's
There you go.
that's there.
That's also another thing too, right?
Yeah. Should we do that?
And most of the local police department are all Freemasons too, so they're getting inducted into that type of mind control as well. You know?
Which I used this for the thumbnail for this. I used this picture, which I think I have somewhere. Hoover. Did you guys see this picture I had of Hoover? Shriner hat.
It's not popping up.
Okay.
Oh, there
Slow.
it is. Oh, there he goes.
Sean, watch your language popping up. It's not popping up. His rod was popping up.
Oh man, Hans.
All that.
He was.
No. Look at the face on that guy.
God.
The Shriners are like, that's the red is of Christian blood, right?
Right, they dip the hat in the blood. Right. And that's the crescent moon, and yeah, that whole thing.
It's
They
all
got,
sinister stuff.
that I think that is the higher order. So the Shriner is higher order above the Masons, and above them is the Jesters, the Royal Order of Jesters. They come out of the Shriners, and the Royal Order of Jesters is all the judges and the lawyers. Shit. So like the regular cops are the Porch Masons, the first three, the Master Mason level, and then above that they get into the Shriners and they get tapped. You know what I mean? And the Royal Order of Jesters, their whole thing is the smiley face, William. I don't know if you know about that, but they believe that it's all just a big joke, and there is no morality, and they can do whatever they want. It's very should look into that. It's very interesting.
Gotti has some stories like that, actually, about that, like the Jester. There's a couple stories he has. Ligotti, man, I want to hang out with Thomas Ligotti. He seems
Ligotti,
like
right.
he's just a real pick me up.
You want to see something to get depressed. Holy
I mean, I think all the high school kids in Boston should be forced to read Thomas Ligotti. That'll cheer them up. Like, I mean, dude, this guy's oh man.
Yeah.
But I just that the next page, just of interest. Some of it is not that interesting, but the bottom paragraph, it looks like they've got their recruits for the permanent subjects, right?
Wow.
Line item 2. So line item 1 is just about how much he's getting paid to do it. But line item 2, you mind if I read this? 2. With regard to someone in the Bureau's technical laboratory studying hypnotic influence, Dr. Esterbrooks proposed that instead of attempting to teach a man the principles up in New York, he arranged to send to Washington 3 selected subjects, 2 males, 1 female. I was of the opinion that the Bureau could arrange in some way that these people could be employed locally, though not necessarily with the Bureau. They would be very willing to take up their residence in Washington. As indicated in my memorandum, 2 male subjects are presently enrolled in CCC personnel, and the third is a young lady with secretarial training, now temporarily employed in New York City. Dr. Esterbrooks then was of the opinion he could come to Washington to spend a week or 2 during his Christmas vacation and teach the principles of hypnotism to anyone by the Bureau utilizing these 3 subjects, and that the person so trained could continue with his experiments alone on the subjects after Dr. Esterbrooks left. So
he's just going to leave his toys behind for anybody to use, right?
He said these are permanent subjects, right?
Right.
And then they have 2 guys, 2 unemployed dudes with the public works, and then some, part-time employed secretary who are willing to do this, right? So and then they'll just be locked in there as permanent experimental subjects.
Doesn't sound like a very good deal to me. Poor guys. And
Yeah, so this guy, they mentioned Carpus. So they mentioned Bremer. Bremer was a kid who was kidnapped. He was a brewing heir. He was kidnapped by the notorious Barker Carpus gang and held for ransom. It brought a bunch of negative publicity. Carpus went to jail and was in prison with Charles Manson at the McNeil Island Penitentiary in Washington State in the early 1960s. During their time there, Carpus, who was the longest serving inmate in Alcatraz history, he was in jail with Whitey Bulger, taught the young Charles Manson how to play the steel guitar.
wow.
So there's weird connections there.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah. So this they also one, can the Bureau compensate Buettner for some of his time and actual expenditures for supplies in connection with the work which he's doing with truth serums at Syracuse? So they're aware they're involved in truth serums and stuff.
I think
$15 each week. That's all it takes.
But this next one is good. The October 29th, 1936.
Yeah.
issue.
Somebody want to
Go
read
ahead,
that one?
Go ahead. William,
Okay.
if you want to.
Memorandum, Federal Bureau of Investigation, J. Edgar Hoover. Visit with Dr. G.H. Estabrooks of Colgate University. In accordance with instructions issued, I spent Monday and part of Tuesday, October 26th and 27th, with Dr. G.H. Estabrooks at Colgate University, Hamilton, New York, and discussed with him the possibilities of some of the principles of hypnotism being applied to interrogation. Our discussions in this respect might well be divided into two parts, namely, that involving the contemplated work using drugs and perhaps hypnotism combined with drugs by Dr. Estabrooks and several Syracuse physicians in a research experiment, and the advisability of having the fundamental principles of hypnotism imparted to an official by the Bureau by Dr. Estabrooks. With regard to the research project contemplated in Syracuse, I found that this had been initiated by Dr. Estabrooks more or less upon the basis that this bureau desired the work done. I deemed this a very undesirable premise upon which to predicate any such research project, and took immediate steps to tone down this impression so that the bureau would not be regarded as the official sponsor of this research experiment.
Wow.
Wow. I first explained to Dr. Estabrooks that this is all kind of like the weasel words, like we really want it done, but we can't say that. I first explained to Dr. Estabrooks very carefully that due to the present position of the Bureau in the public eye, any such research work officially initiated by the Bureau would be seized upon and possibly misinterpreted, both by the press and those who might desire to criticize the Bureau for some reason. I further pointed out that it would appear the Bureau is quite limited by congressional enactment as to the activities which it may conduct, and that should any accident occur during any of these research experiments, an attempt made to show sponsorship of the project by the Bureau, many complications might follow. Dr. Estabrooks informed me he could understand our position in this respect. Later, I confirmed with Dr. Steckel, that's the head of the psychopathic hospital, superintendent of the Syracuse, they've changed it, I guess, to psychiatric hospital, and Dr. Dooley, one of the country's leading pharmacologists attached to the Syracuse Medical School, and to Buettner, an anesthetist, whose address is the Chimes Building, Syracuse, New York. I explained to these gentlemen also that the Bureau could neither initiate nor sponsor a research project into the use of truth serum, drugs, or hypnotism on subjects. I informed that if the work were undertaken by an independent group such as themselves, and for the reason that they could see beneficial results to society as an outcome of the experiments, this Bureau would certainly be interested in keeping in touch with their experiments and being apprised of their findings in this regard. All immediately agreed that the Bureau's position in the matter could be well understood, and he insisted that as an independent group of physicians, they proposed to go ahead with the experiments on their own initiative and responsibility interest. I found these gentlemen not only to seem to know exactly what they are doing, but also found them unusually efficient. In a 45-minute conference at time, plans for starting the research project were definitely and well organized. It was arranged that a graduate student of the Syracuse Medical College doing postgraduate work would be selected to devote his entire time to the research project and arrange the detail thereof. Dr. Steckel, the superintendent of the Syracuse Psychiatric Hospital, who individually impressed me as being very competent, announced that he would readily provide subjects for the experiments from the patients of the hospital. Wow. And further announced that he had already 2 subjects selected and they had voluntarily agreed to submit to the experiments. Plans were consummated to start the project immediately, and the first experiments are to be conducted on the 2 subjects Thursday, October 29th. The first test will deal with the use of nitrous oxide, a gaseous anesthetic. This will be administered by Dr. Buettner, consulting with Dr. Dooley, who's eminent in the field of drugs. I was tempted to remain over and witness this experiment on Thursday afternoon, but desisted for several reasons in addition to the time element. First, I feel that my absence at this initial experiment would tend to confirm my earlier statements that the Bureau cannot initiate and sponsor the project. And secondly, in spite of the eminence and efficiency of these gentlemen, the first experiment or two is not likely to result in immediate success, inasmuch as I have no doubt that a number of trials will be necessary before the relationship of the drugs used and their intoxication of the brain will be smoothly established. I do think, however, that it would be very desirable for me to witness a subsequent experiment. During the conference, items of expense were assumed by the doctors with a single exception, namely that of the gas, drugs, and other supplies necessary for the administration of the anesthetics. In this respect, it will be noted that Dr. Steckel and Dr. Dooley are both employed in what might be termed quasi-public service. That is, they do not depend on a private practice for their livelihood. On the other hand, Dr. Buettner is a private practitioner, and whereas he indicated his enthusiasm and desire to work on the project, he did point out that he would be put to considerable expense for supplies, and at times his practice might suffer from the time which he would have to devote to the experiments. I think it would be very desirable if the Bureau could in some way compensate at least Dr. Buettner for some of his work and expenditures. I'm not going to do that. I'm sending a letter over to Director Signatures, Dr. Buettner, Dooley, was translated for drugs. Second objective of my visit with Dr. Estabrooks was to determine the feasibility of having some representative designated by the Bureau stay with Dr. Estabrooks at Utica for a period of about 2 weeks for the purpose of learning fundamental principles of hypnotism. Dr. Estabrooks did not seem to think so much of this proposition. He pointed out that the mechanics of hypnotism were relatively simple and that the skill is attained throughout practice. He seemed to think 2 weeks study at Hamilton, New York could not make a person sufficiently skilled to be able to suddenly utilize the principles, say a year or so later, when need for such utilization arose. He countered with an ultimate proposition, suggesting he arranged for the transfer of several unusually good hypnotic subjects to Washington, D.C. or vicinity. After these people had been located in Washington, he indicated he would come to Washington, preferably during one of his holiday periods, such as Christmas holidays, and devote a week or 2 weeks, if necessary, to teaching the principles of hypnotism to anyone the Bureau might designate, utilizing the practice work on several unusually good subjects. He then pointed out that after the initial instruction which he would give, the Bureau representative could continue his practice with these subjects and obtain increased skill through continued practice. He also intimated that these subjects might be found useful to the Bureau for other purposes, as for instance, informers. So other purposes, interesting. It seems that Dr. Estabrooks has the theory that by utilizing the principles of post-hypnotic suggestion, good hypnotic subjects could, while in hypnosis, be given specific instructions for the gathering of criminal information. Following their release from the hypnotic state, they would have no conscious memory whatsoever of the instructions rendered, and following the post-hypnotic suggestive urge, they would proceed to gather the information desired without knowing why they were so gathering it. He then thinks that they could later be induced to impart the information under subsequent hypnotism. The latter application would seem to be quite fantastic, and I am inclined to doubt its practicability, utilizing as the hypnotic subjects persons who have no connection with criminal circles, inasmuch as I fail to see how they would gain access to the criminal circles in order to get the desired information. He is highly enthusiastic regarding its possibilities, however, and has even gone to the point of selecting 3 such subjects. 2 of these are young men presently enlisted in a CCC camp near Utica, New York, and the third is a wife of a former student, now deceased, of Dr. Estabrooks. All 3 are conditioned subjects of his, and he demonstrated the hypnotic possibilities of 2 of them, namely the CCC boys before me. We visited the CCC camp S-103 at De Ruyter, New York, and met the 2 subjects. One is blank, who aspires to be an airplane mechanic, and the other is blank. With hardly more than a snap of the finger, Dr. Estabrooks was able to successfully induce hypnosis in each of these subjects and put them through various interesting demonstrations, following which they had complete amnesia as to the events which had transpired. The third subject, which he recommends for the purpose indicated, is blank. He states that she is a very efficient young lady who has secretarial training and is an excellent hypnotic subject. He thinks that blank would make a desirable employee in the Bureau with regard to the two CCC boys. Blank, he seems to think it might be possible for the Bureau to be of some assistance in placing them in some minor position somewhere around Washington, appreciating that they do not have qualifications which would make them eligible for appointment in the Bureau. So like these are like a stable. So he has a stable of hypnotic subjects. Really incredible. Frankly, I do not get overly enthusiastic about this suggestive procedure of Dr. Estabrooks. There would seem to be too many complications in relation to the results which might be expected. I submit consideration of the same to Executive Conference and suggest that a final reply regarding it be addressed by mail to Dr. Estabrooks. I do not think he has any personal interest in the placement of any of these three people with the Bureau, with the possible exception of blank, who seems to be a family friend and seems to be desirous of obtaining a position with the Bureau. In view of this, I see no harm in forwarding to him the usual application form submitted blank with a comment at this time. I am accordingly transmitting such a letter to Dr. Estabrooks. While I was at Colgate, I also met with Dr. George B. Cutton, president of the university. He has a very high regard for the director and for the Bureau. He advised me that he feels many of the suggested applications of hypnotism to the criminalistic field as made by Dr. Estabrooks are very sound, and he feels they would be eventually helpful to the Bureau. He wants the director to know that the facilities of Colgate University are at the services of the Bureau, and that anything the faculty can do to assist the Bureau at any time will be done. I thanked him for this offer in the name of the director and told him I would convey it to the director. I was requested to address a class in criminology and abnormal psychology and undertook to talk before them for a period of 50 minutes on the work and functions of the Bureau, with emphasis on the functioning of the Bureau's technical laboratory. 2 uniformed representatives of the New York State Police attended the lecture, sitting with the student body upon previous invitation of the faculty. Respectfully, E.P. Coffey. There you go. So he counter offers, Estabrooks counter offers and says, I got something better. I've got subjects. I'll send them to Washington and you can use them. So this notion of hypnotic stable, like multiple people that they're moving around, is very important. And you'll see this played out with these other people. They're being moved around and handled. So basically, Estabrooks is not just a hypnotist, he's a handler. He's suggesting this handling. I don't know how it plays out later.
Well, these are permanent subjects, right? I mean, I said that earlier, and they also are aware that there is a risk of death, right? Injury or death in these things. So these people are being even informants, hypnotic couriers, whatever, working in some menial job or whatever, cleaning toilets in DC, in the White House or something, whatever they're doing. But
just like all the SRA people that are doing their job and, in the certain places they're supposed to be at and triggered when they're supposed to be triggered, they put them in there just like Bill Clinton and the rest, like.
It's incredible, man. This is incredible stuff. Like you're literally seeing it play out in these conversations.
Another good point to note is that there's your public-private partnership. How they, that's a personal doing his own business over there, even though we're going to pay him for it. But the whole idea of government via public-private partnership, so they can get around the Constitution and all the laws that protect us.
Right. That's a good point. It's how they distance themselves and stuff like that. Yeah. We can't get involved, but we'll keep tabs on everything you're doing with great alacrity, right? Like it's just like funny euphemistic phrases and stuff. Like,
yeah,
we can't put our hands on it, but we want you to do exactly all this stuff here, and here. Who wants to read next? Or how are you guys doing? We're at 2.5 hours.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll have to.
You want to wrap it up?
Feed my dog. But it is. I don't know if you met. There's one. Am I on the right page? This is.
53.
Oh no, I got it.
I'm at
72.
54, 53,
Oh,
something like that.
Hypnotizing
This is
subject.
50. This is my 54.
Right, 54.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I mean, his, that Kutin guy, from the head of the university, right? University president, who was an expert in hypnotism. And he worked on alcoholics, right? He said the only cure for alcoholism is either religious conversion or hypnotism, e.g., William Sargent, right? So you see the battle for the mind when we talked about that, in that he presents religious conversion and, in this case, Pavlovian conditioning, but hypnotic suggestion is very, I mean, they're not. There's a different level than just Pavlovian conditioning, right? I don't think this stuff was not made public. I don't at all, right? I would assume. I mean, except for within scientific circles.
Right. It was made public with Manchurian Candidate, the movie, like in the 50s or whatever.
Let me check some of these comments. Thanks for listening, everybody. We had a couple hundred total listeners. So
that's great for live. Cool. That's cool. We didn't even
for live without not too much advertising. Let's see. Danny Carey Drum set is a freaking magical situation, but he's the Thelemite. Yep, that's right.
That's true. It is yeah. He sets it up in a specific way, and his movement of his body is like, never mind.
Shadow people. Tool.
Oh yeah, I saw him in 01 too. They were really
Baby Metal is very close with BMTH. Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh,
I noticed a lot of the esoteric stuff in their lyrics and imagery. No, but I've done shows on Bring Me the Horizon and close to Ed Sheeran, a lot of smiley faces and weird stuff. Murder by Maestro. Hey, all, great series. The guys have put together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tara Donald Marshall talked about Cloning Center and the Queen of England. Sloan Bella. I wrote a chapter about her on the Smiley Face Killers in my Smiley Face Killers book. 13th Floor Elevator is a good soundtrack. I don't know what that means.
Oh, 13th floor elevators are.
Sean, you can't serve two masters. I don't know what that means either.
Satan.
Derek, mental hygiene is Tavistock Institute. William Sargent, Health of the Mind. Yes, where the term mental health came from.
Yeah, and I mean Tavistock, of course, was really looking at severe trauma, shell shock, induction of trauma. I mean, it's
yes,
and it's that from Tavistock. Everything else kind of flowed out from that, right? And you have, you have everything. You have
Grateful Dead came out of Tavistock.
Aquarian conspiracy. You have Mason conferences funneling out of that, and Tavistock was very much. Also, though, we go back a little bit further. We go connect with the Fabian Society, and then the Society for Psychical Research, right? So that actually was the root of the Fabian Society. Right. Even the, the just sort of off topic, but the Schofield Reference Bible, right? The people that worked on that were also occultists. So they were involved in satanic channeling and literally believed that the changes in the Bible were made by demons that they were possessed by.
Wow, that's crazy.
Literally, yeah. So
wonderful.
But these guys are all tied. So the psychical research, that whole thing, you have H.G. Wells, you got all these guys funneling directly into Fabian socialism, into Tavistock Institute, right? Alistair, you got Aleister Crowley coming out a bit later, but these are upper crust, spiritualism, turn of the 19th century, the fad. We got like
tipping and all that
Arthur Conan Doyle, William Butler Yeats, Order of the Golden Dawn, and all.
Sure,
but all this goes right in. It feeds into Tavistock, and it's but Tavistock is actually quite. I guess a lot of people have done work on it, but I think this is a connection with that, but obviously not direct because it's in the U.S. But I'm sure I don't know. They got their mind-controlled slave, probably the sex slave secretary. It's kind of implied, right?
I was thinking the same thing. Like somebody's going to start to figure out, oh, she's a good subject. That's why they had secretaries in the past. It's like. Dual use, like it really. The sexism was really bad. It's still bad today, but anyway, Johnny Sumatra. I love how the correspondence centers are on fee grubbing. Yes, Austin Hospital, Austin State Hospital used to be named the Texas State Lunatic Asylum. Wow.
great.
That's really
Oh,
funny.
man.
Third eye for the FBI guy. That's a good one too. Derek, Mental Hygiene is Tavistock Institute. William Sargent, we just talked about this. FU, what about those smiley face murders in the US and UK too? I think Matthew Perry's last picture was in line. So yes, it was, and I did a show on that, or an episode.
Right. Yeah.
My step grand visitor was a Shriner. My step GMA Eastern Star. They were done by that time I was 14. Wimpole, this is by Gum. Wimpole Street, London was and probably still is the location of the UK psychopath medical fraternity near Freemason Hall. I'm not surprised. They probably overlapped. Jane Asher's father worked at Wimpole Street, the real part McCartney. Lived with the Ashers until 1966. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Rockefeller Martyr. William Sargent links to Wimpole Street and Dr. Asher. Interesting. That's a big wig. Johnny, great show as always, gents. Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Zoe. Thanks for all the great comments. Derek, hand spot on. Yes, thank you guys. Tony Blair, Jacinda Ardern used to work for Blair, later NZ Prime Sinister during pandemic. Yeah, they did. And then, hey, somebody commented.
That's me. No, that's me. I'm promoting myself. Self-promotion. I stuck it in there.
Oh, he's using mind control on you.
Put a comment in, Sean. Come on.
Oh,
Please
man.
check out my shows on Rumble and BitChute. I will upload to YouTube later today. The Resonant State name. Check it out. Thanks, guys. Thank you. All right, that's all the comments.
I just want to thank you, William, and thank you, Hans, for continuing this. This is fun for me. I just always want to say thank you.
I'm enjoying it too. I'm really enjoying it. Everything. You learn so much stuff. It's really interesting to see their correspondence. You get different things. It's not just the mind control, but you see like administrative weasel words and people worrying about money, and then Esther Brooks and all these characters and how they interplay with each other. And Hoover's just such an important figure, man. This guy's a giant. Like you had presidents come and go, and this guy's behind the scenes for 40 years.
Yeah, he's kind of got that Crowley face going.
He really does.
Bush,
really
Barbara
does.
Bush face,
black eyes. Maybe it's a picture. His eyes,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you guys said that earlier. Like this is the template. The beginning of getting subjects for the whole like SRA stuff, program multiples, using institutional stuff. You mentioned all these murderers or whatever people that went through the institutional programs. This is where it was developed. This is where it was developed, and they started the experimentation. And when they say permanent subject, I'm sure they mean permanent subjects, right? So. That's why the names are blanked out. What happened to them?
Right. Imagine if we found out those names, guys. Imagine if we found out their names and what happened to them. Like, what did they end up doing? Like, we've got this subject. We can get them to do post-hypnotic suggestion. Now we put them to use. We implement it. We operationalize, right? That's the whole thing. Is we haven't gotten to the operational stuff yet, but it's on the horizon. Why don't you guys promote your shows too while you're at it?
Okay. Dibs. I'll go first. Wake the Dead. You can find on Spotify and BitChute and Rumble and YouTube and Odyssey and all the other listening, Google. And you can find me on onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean-McCann. And there's a donate page there. Please click and share if you have the will to do so. Thank you.
All right. And I'm actually same locations now with my new podcast. It's going actually not that long, actually. I think I'm on but 16 shows. But so YouTube, I will post on YouTube later, but there's some stuff there. YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Spotify, and I will soon be on the One Great Radio Network once I get the page set up.
Right. One Great Work Network /Hans-Utter.com/Han-Utter.
Yeah, it's not. I was trying to get Sean to set that up for me, but I guess I got to do it myself.
I'll help you, bud.
No, I'm just kidding.
But there's, you're one of the many contributors to this One Great Work Network, and there's many others that are, pillars in the community that are there along with us. So we're honored to have you, Hans. This is great.
Well, and William, just awesome. Thank you for just in inciting this whole journey, which again started just with the movie pre Charlie Kirk assassination, right? And so
Yeah, wow.
and now we're just continuing the thread with this, actual sort of investigative deep dive, because I'm sure most people aren't going to sit down and read this whole document, right? And a lot of stuff we're pulling up, you're going to miss it, right? And I think it's great. Both you guys have just great knowledge bases, and we're just getting a lot of different information from the direction. And thanks to all the listeners, we really appreciate it. Very grateful to all you out there on this wonderful
Agreed with everything
Monday.
you just said. Thanks for the great comments too, everybody. Really appreciate all the great commentary and joining along. And we're trying to make it an every Monday morning. So if you're bored at work or you're stuck in a car, or you're a trucker or something, I got trucker listeners or something.
You did too much meth and you're seeing shadow people.
Yeah.
Don't look in their eyes.
Anyway, William Ramsey Investigates. Check it out online. Podcasts, websites, the same name. And I have 3 YouTube channels back, so you can just pick one, type it into YouTube, and we'll be streaming there. Trying to stream a lot, so got a lot of new stuff and restreaming old stuff now. So there's some content for people who can listen. Some of it disappeared, some of it's back. I found an old one I did on Urban Grandier. I restreamed that because we talked about that, Hans, or you talked about that.
That old one with Russ Dizdar, you were his guest, and that was great to listen to. Yeah.
I'd totally forgotten about that one from 2014. So
right, it's a long time now.
A long time ago, man. It just shows how long I've been droning on for decades. Like I literally could say decades. All right, guys. Anybody else? Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Just thank you, and thank you, listeners, for listening.
Yeah. All right. Excellent.
What happened that I wasn't around? I was censored, guys. My YouTube channels were taken away. I supposedly make harmful content, so that was one of them. And very threatening. I've never threatened anybody in my life.
Yeah.
So
I also got censored. I got ganked by 2 times, 2 separate PayPal accounts, all my money stolen twice, and I had quite a lot of listeners on my Spreaker show, and that got memory hold, everything gone, content gone, just no reason. So, and I'm the nicest guy ever. I don't even swear.
Yeah. It's really strange.
If you do, you should cut yourself with a razor, though, every time.
The Biden era was a really dark era. It was really like informational warfare, COVID,
dark winter,
stealing. Just like tons of billions of dollars are missing, hundreds of billions of dollars are missing. Yeah. Nobody's doing anything. Like, oh, just forget it. You want to talk about mind control? That's a recent implementation of informational warfare and mind war of the first order. Like, and then part of the mind war is to make you amnesiac and forget it. So if you think like these guys are forgetting stuff in amnesia, get a mirror because it just happened to you. Anyway, signing out. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. Good night or good afternoon.